that in.
Want to give Josh a little test. This one.
Share one number and handle calls and texts.
That's Frank. Is that good, Josh?
Hello.
I just need a spot to plug this in. Oh, there we go.
Mike's StreamYard mic.
Check.
Never miss a lead or opportunity.
There we go. Game's on.
All right, ready, Frank, for the Wi-Fi here?
Yes,
You can
please.
even keep your current business phone number. Find out why 90,000 businesses trust
just get
Quo.
on my phone.
Money is on the line. Always say hello with Quo.
Settings.
Frank. All right.
All right.
Man, that was
You
really.
can go ahead and give Mike check.
Tire change.
Home of the Sports Bash with Mike Gill, 97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City.
Flyers win the faceoff. Here's Cam York again. Over the bat, Michkov. Michkov hits it back across at the line. York with a shot. They score! Cam York from the point of the Flyers win it in overtime. And they're headed to the second round as they send the Pittsburgh Penguins packing in overtime.
That's the call on 97.3 ESPN. Tim Saunders last night called it as the Flyers advanced. They beat the Penguins in overtime, and they will face the Carolina Hurricane in the second round. What's up, everybody? The Sports Bash is live today. We are at Ventnor Social. We are hanging out for the Phillies, a little day game watch party with the Phils as they are in action. What's going on, everybody? Mike Gill, Pete G., my on-site producer. Josh Henning is back in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios. Frank Close is here. You got the Phillies mailbag all day long. We'll be talking Phils with a doubleheader today. But we got to start things off last night with a wild night over at the Xfinity Mobile Arena as the Flyers advance. They get outplayed. It was one of those games where you really thought this was going to be a seventh game, and it was going to come back to Pittsburgh. But Dan Vladar, we talked about him yesterday, being the first star, needing to be the first star. He turns out and makes a plethora of big saves in the third, a couple more in the overtime period, and then probably the unlikeliest of game winners. Cam York gets the goal to win it, and the Flyers advance. An improbable season. The last time we were here at Ventnor Social, and I remember having Kevin Durso, who's going to join us at 3:30 today. We had Durso on the show on that day. We were here for our first Phillies watch party, and Durso had said they have a 3.8% chance to make the playoffs, so it's still improbable. And it was on that day that we were here at Ventnor Social that he basically said, it doesn't really matter what goes on because it's just so improbable. And here they are. Not only did they make the playoffs, you got your Flyers hoodie on there, PG. You are flyered up.
And you know what? You mentioned that was the last time the Phillies won a series against the Rockies.
Yikes.
Right here.
Well, that was right here at Ventnor Social, which is where we are today. We'll tell you more about that. But the Flyers win. They move on. They're going to play Carolina. I don't know what day. I don't know what time. There are some murmurs that it could be on Saturday. Could be game one. It possibly could be on Sunday, game number one. And they will play Carolina, who all 4 games, I believe, that they played in the regular season, they all went to overtime, and Carolina won 3 of them. And obviously, this is the key. Philadelphia beats Carolina on a night where Carolina basically rested a lot of their starters. It allows Philadelphia to get into the playoffs, and now they face each other in the playoffs. So crazy stuff there. We'll talk to Durso at 3:30 about that. And, they just couldn't get anything going last night. I'm watching the game.
Now, were you watching it on the local feed or the national feed?
I was on the national feed.
Oh, come on.
I'm a big Kenny Albert fan.
You missed
Sean McDonough and Kenny Albert, it's tough to beat those
Jim
two.
Jackson.
No,
had
you watching
a
the Flyers?
brilliant
I'm a
call.
Jim Jackson guy.
Of
yes,
course,
I was
yeah.
watching the local, yes.
Wasn't it a fantastic, just
absolutely
epic call?
I saw the call.
Well, you didn't see it in real time.
I didn't need to see it in real time. I got the Kenny Albert, who had a great call, by the way, Kenny Albert.
And Bush. Bush was on the
I got Bush.
Yeah.
I like Kenny Albert. I like Sean McDonough. So you give me those two guys. I'm partial to those two. So now, I don't know about your wife. I mean, does she watch a lot of stuff with you?
It's like she was watching it. Yeah.
Just say
she was invested.
But does she normally watch stuff with you?
No.
Right.
No.
Now, Heidi will watch stuff with me, but not like invested. Like,
right.
She'll watch, but she'll be doing stuff. She likes the Sixers. She does like the Phillies.
Is she, cheering, though? Is she oh, man, missed shot or whatever?
The first 3 periods, no.
No, okay.
Overtime, she was into it.
She was yelling at
Well,
the TV.
You get a shot. When the mix-up was when they were all in front of the net and Vladar, they're all laying down. And, she was, paying attention. But it's been a slow get you into this. But I think an overtime win is the first jumping off point. Now, I've been told, I've been seeing we're at Ventnor Social. The place has been jumping for these Flyers games. So it's going to be a madhouse if they play on Saturday. And if the Sixers can win tonight and go to Game 7, you're going to get a Flyers Game 1 potentially and a Sixers Game 7. We'll get into the Sixers a little bit later on, which, by the way, Sixers Game 6 tonight. Watch it right here. So we got the Phillies on now. Then the Phillies play again at 5:30, and then the Sixers play tonight at 8 o'clock. You got a little triple-dipple here at Ventnor Social. And if you stop by, come on out and watch the Phillies game, you can go see intern Vince, who's got the Flyers shirt on. He's ready to go, and he's going to sign you up for that trip to go to Camden Yards. So you come out, you can sign up to win that trip to Camden Yards. All you got to do is pop in, sign the box. So, yeah, it was very slow last night for the Flyers. And it just felt like a matter of time that Pittsburgh was going to get one to go. And the Flyers just couldn't even get the puck into their own zone last night for the third period. And you're waiting for the inevitable. And when York makes that, and the way it goes in, there's just traffic and craziness, and it clanks off. I mean, it
Little
was
ping
just
for you.
Yeah, you needed it, right?
Yeah.
What an ending.
And good for York, too, because that guy, he had some problems with Tortorella last year, we remember.
Yeah, Tortorella basically called him out.
Right, and he always gets compared to Cole Caulfield because he was in that same draft. They passed on Caulfield to draft York, so good for him.
Yeah, I think we were talking about this before the show today. I said to Josh, who could be the most improbable guy that you could pick to score the game-winning goal to send you into the next round? And, you know, it's one of those things where this team has gotten goals from Sanheim, you know, Drysdale, defensive men. You know, Noah Cates scores a goal. By the way, Cates had the assist on the play there. They've been getting such improbable goal scorers, and you wonder, like Porter Martone, who had some big goals early, late in the regular season, Zegras. By the way, I thought Michkov had a couple chances last night. How apropos would it have been for Michkov to be the one? He had a little breakaway that if he could have got that home, that would have been an interesting story. But you're waiting for those players, and you wonder if those players will be the players that stick, that get going in the Carolina series. So
they're going to need them.
Fun
right?
night last night.
They're going to need them.
609-403-0973 on the White Horse RV text board. Kevin Durso joins us at 3:30 today to recap that Flyer game. And if you have any thoughts on that Flyers win, what excites you about this team, and how many people think that this team has something special going on? Carolina was the best team this season. They've beaten you 3 out of 4. The only game you won against them was against the night when they sat everybody, and you had to go to a shootout to beat them in that game with their reserves all play. Now, the Flyers are a different team. Now, they're obvious, and I think they sat some guys that night too, if memory serves.
Pittsburgh's a different team than Carolina, so
much
it's
different.
Be a different series, no question.
So you hope that all the excitement is for naught, because you hate to have all the excitement. Now, we had talked about it. Are we going to Raleigh or what? I got a call today.
Well, I mean, did you really?
I got a call today.
Well, we got about 3 days to plan for it.
We don't know when the schedule's being dropped. Here's the thing, right? So we were at the draft party last week, Frank, and we had said, look, Carolina, if they win, they're going to advance. The series would be in Carolina. Now, the basis of the conversation was ACY has this new airline, Breeze Air, and they fly direct to Raleigh. The problem is they don't start direct to Raleigh till June 1st. Now, if you're Breeze Air and you are in charge, don't you say, you know what, let's take advantage of the Flyers playing in Raleigh and push our start time up and offer flights from ACY to Raleigh for this series? You think?
I mean,
if I'm in charge, I'm doing it.
Charter one. You'll fill it.
Yes.
All you got to do is say, hey,
there's a pilot here.
We are doing, you know, like how like you have a bar like Ventnor Social, and they have a little soft opening. They don't really they tell friends and family, come on out. Let the staff, get used to the POS system, the bartenders to the well and everything. That's what Breeze Air needs to do, a little test run. Hey, we're going to do a test run for our Raleigh flight and see how that all works. And we're going to do it on, ironically, it'll be right when the Flyers play the Carolina Hurricane. So we started talking about that. Well, then we had one of our sponsors text in that said, we could utilize one of their vehicles to go down to Raleigh. Well, our weekend show, of course, The Locker with Billy Schweim, he calls me. You know, he's a big Flyer fan, big Flyer guy. He says he went to college down in the Raleigh area.
Oh, really?
And he says he knows multiple Philadelphia-themed sports bars in that area that we could do the show from the sports bar down there.
That's what we would need, a location, right? We would need a Philadelphia-themed
there's your
location.
There's your thing today.
What? Find the Philly sports bar down in Raleigh?
Is there a Philadelphia sports bar where do Philadelphia fans go in the Raleigh? Is there a bar? I mean,
There's one in every city.
What else is going on in Raleigh?
It's very small. I
Right.
mean, you got NC State down there, right? Somewhere in that area. Is that in the Raleigh side? You've got nothing. You got nothing much up in
Moonshine.
It's a small town. There's no question about it. So that was what we needed to figure out. So, yeah, Schwein called me today. He says, "Hey, Mike, we going down to Raleigh or what?" I said, "Well, I don't know the schedule yet, Bill. I don't know when they're playing."
Well, I think it depends on the game sevens, right? There's
two games tonight.
Right.
There's 2 games tonight, and if they're both over tonight, I think there is some thoughts that the Flyers could play on Saturday. If they extend that series, I think the game 7s would be on Saturday,
right? And
maybe the Flyers would open up on Sunday or Monday. My intuition would be we would look for if the Flyers were able to get back to Carolina.
Oh, for a game 6.
5.
For a game 5.
Right, 5 or 6.
Yeah.
You look to see what the series looks like, and you plan around that. So you're not going for game 1 and 2. You hope that the series is like 2-2 going back to Raleigh, or Flyers are up 3-1 going back to Raleigh, and then Sports Bash is live down there.
Yeah.
You think you would be in?
I would be in for that.
Wow. I asked Durso, what do you think?
He'd be in for it.
He should. Hey, I love Raleigh. It's a great city. By the way, I've been there, and by the way, there are at least 2 Eagles bars that call themselves Eagles bars. I'm sure they would.
Okay.
They would be open to it.
That would be the ones. You found them right now?
Yeah, right now.
What do you got?
North Street Beer Station on 521 West North Street.
Okay.
Premier location for Eagles fans, or so it says, and they have a certified party for Philly fans.
No, he found that right away. What did you do?
Well, I'm looking at it too right here. I just didn't get a chance.
Also, Woody's City Market is historically recognized as a fanatical Eagles spot in downtown Raleigh. So, yeah, lots of good places in Raleigh.
And what are the
Great
proximities
city.
to what was the name of that arena? We looked it up last week because we were looking for how far the drive was. It's a 7-hour drive.
I don't like that drive. Don't drive.
Well, to be fair, Schweimer has us hooked up on the flights.
That's the Lenovo Center.
Yes. Schweimer called me today. He said he's got flights hooked up for us.
All right, he's got that connection.
Yep. That's how I got to the Super Bowl.
We need that connection.
So we're going to look into that. By the way, Phil's in action. Day game, stop out, Ventnor Social. We're watching the game. They got the games on all the TVs right now because there's no other live games happening at this time. This game started at 12:30. You're rocking and rolling. So
we got a Schwarbaum today.
You got a Schwarbaum, but that's it. Much like the Rob Thompson Phillies. They've scored 1 run in 1 inning, and then that's it. Christopher Sanchez threw 5 pitches and gave up 2 extra base hits. It's 2-0, and then Schwarber hits the home run. Now, I was driving over here on my way here, and apparently the Phillies had bases loaded, and Stott came up and struck out with the bases loaded.
And an ugly at bat after that as well. So I've seen a lot of fans calling for the Phillies to do something about the second base position because he is just lost. For a bat that has all that talent and all that contact ability, he is not finding it this year.
Well, let's get into that a little bit because Don Mattingly is now the manager. And he did get asked yesterday about the platoons. What did you make of what he said about the platoons?
He seems inclined to give up on the left field platoon. I say this over and over again. I do not like having multiple platoons on any roster.
I don't either.
Last year, the Phillies had 3 of them at one time. You need the bench. And if you go into platoons, you don't have your bench if you're just flip-flopping throughout the game. So he seems like he's going to be committed to Brandon Marsh every day. Now, he did not make any such declaration for Bryson Stott, and I don't think Bryson Stott is showing that he should play a lot.
I know everybody wants to see Marsh play every day. He's been very good against right-handers. But let's honestly ask the question, do we think that is going to work out?
No. I think what he's going to do is he's going to flip him to center field every time they face a lefty, and I don't like that at all.
No,
especially if you're.
So they're basically going to platoon Crawford.
Pretty much
is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's pretty much what's happening here.
Now let me ask you this, because and I've been told many a times by people, you know, the major league evaluators take the minor league numbers with a grain of salt. I mean, he raked against lefties in AAA. I mean, he hit like 380 against lefty. Do they not look at that and say, let's give him a shot?
You know, a lot of those ground balls would be outs in the major league. I think that was the only question they had about Crawford heading into this year. AAA, you don't have the quality of defense. You're more likely to leg out a lot of those balls. So a lot of those infield hits that he got, as he gets thrown out trying to steal. But a lot of those infield hits that he had at AAA are not going to be major league hits. So, but so far, I mean, it's a smaller sample size, but he is scuffling a little bit against the lefties.
Okay, so it is a small sample size, yes, against lefties, but it seems like they think they've seen enough that he is going to struggle that much against lefties. Would he struggle more against lefties than Marsh does is really the question.
That is the question, and I think the Phillies need to know what Brandon Marsh is, because if Brandon Marsh is a righty only,
haven't they figured that out by now?
Well, here's the thing. They're going to commit 2 roster spots to one position. He needs to hit well enough when he plays to make up for the fact that the other half has to exist. And I think that's a very high threshold that you need. So he needs to show that he can play every day. Otherwise, long term, I mean, they might have to go another direction.
All right, Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN, the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. And don't forget, Ventnor Social tonight. You got Phillies now, you got Phillies at 5:30, and you got the Sixers. So you got a trifecta of games here today, all day long. And I know it's a little early for the people, but hang out for the end of this game. Then the start of the next game is at 5:30 right here. We are live. We've also got an opportunity for you to sign up to win this trip to Baltimore, where you can see the Phillies play at Camden Yards against the Orioles, and that game is on July 31st, and it's a bus trip. They'll drive you down, they'll feed you, you'll get some liquidly lubricated, I guess, if you'd like. They'll have some offerings for you there. Great seats, by the way. It's a ton of Phillies fans. They're all going together. It's lower level seats, so stop out and sign up for that. See Vince when you walk in. He's sitting at the table right behind us here. And you got the Phils now, the Phils at 5:35. Don't forget, there's another game tonight, and they're going to go with a bullpen game.
I hate that. I absolutely hate that. They have an extra roster spot. Bring up a starter from AAA. Let him have the innings, because now the bullpen's going to be out of whack for an entire week. Not just tonight, but they're going to have to come around now and
why
be
do you
short.
think they brought up Nolan Hoffman today? Why do you think they chose to not bring, like, Rangel? I don't know when he last threw.
Yeah, Alan Rangel just pitched on Tuesday, so
Okay, so that would answer
that
that.
throws that off. But like Bryce Wilson, maybe, who was good the last time. I mean, I really think that the lack of depth there is going to really bite them. And it's for stuff like this, right? When you need the extra starter, like, because you throw
This
Nolan
is where
Hoffman.
Taiwan Walker comes into
well,
play.
ideally, if he was better this year, this would have been his opportunity.
I think
but-
I'd rather see the bullpen game than Taiwan Walker.
Well, the 2026 Taiwan Walker, absolutely. Last year he would have been all right. But no, Nolan Hoffman's, what's he going to give him, 2, max? I mean, they need to lean on these arms, because then they're again, it's going to be out of whack for days if they do this.
Yeah, and this is a shame, because I think this rain out really hurts them, because they had the pitching advantages in this series. Now, they're losing this game today, but you thought you had the pitching advantage here. I know Webb is very good, but he has not been great this year. You've got Sanchez against Webb. You like Sanchez better than you like Webb, and then you've got Painter against Hauser. You think like you had the pitching advantage in all 3 games in this series. And now this rain out kind of knocked it out of whack, where you had Sanchez having to pitch the early game, and now you're pitching the night game with a bullpen game.
And then that bullpen will carry over to the series of Miami, because they're going to be short.
Exactly.
A wraparound series in Miami, too. They don't get a day off.
No, and look, they need to start piling up wins. Last night is a night where you are hopeful that the Tigers could have held on and won that game, and the Braves get a walk-off in the 9th last night. So you actually lost ground by not even playing last night.
Yeah, no days off until the 11th of May. So between now and May 11th, that bullpen is going to be all out of whack.
Yeah, they do have an interesting stretch of games coming up. Hey, on the other side, our Phillies fastball segment, Oscar and Jeff will join us as the Phillies are live 2-1. The Giants lead the Phillies. We are at Ventnor Social, 6417 Ventnor Avenue in Ventnor. 2 Phillies games today, Sixers game 6 tonight, and you're home for the Flyers and Hurricanes. The whole series, when that schedule is out, we'll let you know. You can listen to every game on 97.3 ESPN. Our Phillies fastball segment is next.
The Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
And I am the voice of the voiceless.
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
All right, 227 on the Sports Bash, our Phillies fastball segment. It's brought to you by Ventnor Social. That's where we are today. It's the place to go to catch every Phillies game. They got one on right now. They'll have the next one on at 5:35. And don't forget the Kentucky Derby this weekend. You can check out the Kentucky Derby at Ventnor Social with all the great TVs, the great menu, the great food, and the great drinks. Ventnor Social brings you our Phillies fastball segment right now on the Sports Bash Live. Frank Close, of course, you can check out his Phillies mailbag over at 973ESPN.com. He came out for the Phils doubleheader today, and now it's our Phillies fastball guys, Oscar and Jeff. It looks like Jeff is live at Citizens Bank Park, and he'll give us an update there. Oscar is with us as well for Phillies fastball. Boys, obviously, we have a game going on right now. 2-1, Jeff. You are at the ballpark. And another slow start for Christopher Sanchez. Got hit around in that first inning. He has since settled in and then turned it over to the bullpen. But this looks like Rob Thompson's offense. 1 run in 1 inning. What gives?
You mean the manager didn't change the offense? I'm kind of shocked by that. I mean, it's pretty much the same lineup. Look, the Stars are going deeper in games, so we got to like that. But I wasn't a fan of Don Mattingly pulling Sanchez for Ryan Kerkering. That had been up down in the 7th and the 8th, and Kerkering got in trouble in the 8th, and Tanner Banks right now is trying to get him out of it. There's 2 men on, 1 strike, and 2 outs. So we'll see if Banks can get out of this.
Yeah, Oscar, what'd you think of the way they handled Sanchez today?
It didn't make any sense to me. I mean, you didn't have a runner on base. I mean, the guy have pitched 6.2 innings. You need to save the bullpen because you're going to have a bullpen day in the next game. So it doesn't make any sense. Sanchez did his job. It's just the bats are not there. I mean, we're 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position. I mean, that says it all. Start in the 4th inning. You cannot leave with runners, 2nd and 3rd or whatever. I mean, you cannot leave with no outs. You cannot leave without a run in that inning.
Yeah, Frank and I were talking about the at-bat Stott. Jeff, what was up with that? Give us kind of paint the picture. Bases loaded, Stott comes up. There's a chance there, and he strikes out there, and then another bad at-bat after that. He really seems to be struggling.
Yeah, he's really it seems like they're trying to tell him to chase at the first pitch because that's what he seems to be doing. I'm assuming you're talking about the one with the bases loaded, Mike, or the second at-bat?
Well, the bases loaded was the first one, and then the second at-bat was even worse.
Oh, yeah. Look, he just looks lost at the plate right now. I wonder if he's trying to do too much at this point. And, Don Mattingly said Brandon Marsh deserves to be playing every day, even against lefties. But he hasn't made that endorsement on Bryson Stott yet, so I'm wondering if that platoon's still going to last.
Oscar, Stott, Mattingly was asked about platoons. Did you guys get the feeling that they are going to let Marsh kind of play against left-handers?
He said that he would be open to the idea. Look, to me, at the end of the day, it's about performance, right? This team does not have enough hitters. I think it's a fly out there.
Banks got out of it.
Yeah, he got out of it. By the way, Banks not pitching well at all. I mean, so far this year. I mean, but I'm glad he, despite putting 2 runners on base, he was able to get out of the inning and leave it a 2-1 game. But look, the reality is you're going to this lineup overall is not producing. I mean, Schwarber hits a home run. That's your only run in the entire game. And look, you have what 7 hits, but you cannot produce enough. I mean, so we're just look. There is something that I gotta see. Stott needs to relax. Stott needs to be relaxed a lot more than he has so far. And he's at bat. He's hitting 205, guys. I mean, that's not Bryson Stott. Bryson Stott's a lot better hitter. I think he's putting too much pressure on himself and trying to play hero ball, and he just needs to relax and do his thing.
And Oscar, I need to double check that Stott at bat too, because that fastball he swung was out of the zone, and I'm like, it looked high from up here, but I couldn't tell. I had to look at the box. So I'm like, oh wow, he really did swing at a high pitch there. You probably saw better on TV than I did, but even on the curveball he had, he just didn't look comfortable, and it was a hanger, and he missed it.
He did. And by the way, they have Sosa playing third base today, a night after Bohm actually had 2 hits. I would imagine Bohm plays in the game tonight. But, of course, everybody was wondering, why is Bohm not in the lineup after he finally got going with 2 hits? I would imagine that happens. But do you play Sosa at second base in the nightcap?
It's a matchup. It was matchup based because Alec Bohm hits too many ground balls, and this is a ground ball pitcher. I mean, Logan Webb is one of the best pitchers in baseball. I would put him in the top maybe 7 pitchers in all baseball. I mean, this guy is really, really good. He has not had a good season. He came into this game with a 4.8 ERA. But look, he's a ground ball pitcher. Alec Bohm is a ground ball hitter, and he just wanted to give it Mundito, and at least he got a base hit, right?
Yeah, and Frank and I were talking before. Frank, you were suggesting that it looks like they're going to let Crawford play center field more against left-handed pitching, and it looks like Crawford is going to be the guy that gets kind of platooned for. And he got a hit today, ends up getting thrown out stealing. But do you guys like seeing Marsh play more center field?
I don't. Go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead.
I'm not crazy about that. I think we saw today with that catch in the the 5th inning that Brandon Marsh is a Gold Glove left fielder, Gold Glove caliber left fielder. I think he should be playing. He should be playing left field. Period. I think you want him to play every day. Have him play in left field and play Justin Crawford in center field if you want to do that. I don't know. I just feel like Justin Crawford needs more at bats. I know he's struggling against left-handed pitching to start the year, but this guy had 390 against left-handed pitching last year in AAA, and there's some major league pitchers that pitch in AAA. So I don't know. I would give Crawford the benefit of the doubt and let him grow here.
I want to see more bunts from Crawford. I want to see more bunts. Use his speed to his advantage. This guy needs to find a way to get on base, no matter what.
He bunted today and got a base hit.
Yep.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jeff, I was driving over here when that bunt happened. He bunted and got on base. What happened after that? Marchand came up?
Yeah, Marchand came up, and I believe he grounded out. I'm trying to remember what Marchand did, but it was weird. The runners on second and third. So basically, they were leaving first base open, but maybe they were hoping for, you put the ball in play. Maybe the Giants make an error, and look, they decided, hey, you know what? Let's just let that thing sit. They weren't even going to get him anyway. But you know what? That's good for Justin Crawford. And he has a hit today. He has another hit today, so he's got 2 hits. That's a way to get Justin Crawford's speed, like what Oscar said, and a way to get his confidence going. Now all of a sudden he has 3 hits and he has 5 at bats.
Yeah. I mean, I think the other big news today is Realmuto is getting closer. I think he might be activated on Saturday. We need his bat in the lineup.
It will be Saturday.
Yeah, Marchand at 0.80 or 85. I mean, it's not going to cut it. So we need Realmuto's at least at bats a little bit more competitive than Marchand's.
There's no question. That's a great point and a great pickup to bring that up because you're right. That catching position has been abysmal. And for a lot of people, myself included, by the way, who look at Marchand and say, look, he doesn't get enough of an opportunity to really show because he doesn't play all the time. He's got a big enough sample size where he's playing every day right now, and it's just showing he is not capable to be able to get you out if Realmuto misses 10 days. And Realmuto was kind of giving you a little something offensively, which was a surprise, right? We thought that Realmuto may have been declining, but he actually was giving you something. It'll be interesting to see where they plot him because they've been hitting Stott, right in the – they go with the 2 lefties, Marsh 6 and Stott 7. I guess Realmuto might split those guys up when he returns.
Yeah, absolutely.
By the way, Trey Turner 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts. He just looked really bad in this at-bat.
And
after
the other
4
thing,
hits the other night.
Schwarber hitting against the lefty, which, I mean, he has not done well at all this year against lefties, so he needs to pick it up as well. And I'm glad we have a new member of the Fastball family, Frank Close. Frank, glad to have you here.
Yeah, Frank's. We're live on location today, guys. We're at Ventnor Social, and we do these live Phillies watch parties. Frank usually jumps out with us from time to time, and he was watching, what was going on here, and we were talking about beforehand too. Frank, not a fan of the bullpen game.
No, I hate the bullpen game. I thought that this sets the bullpen up for failure without a day off until May 11th. What do you think about that, Jeff?
Yeah, you know what? I thought it was interesting, too. Andrew Painter actually admitted to me today he was not pitching tonight. I saw him playing a game. I said, you're pitching today by any chance? He's like, nah, they're sitting there for Miami. So I figured that was a bullpen game there. I think it's because they would have had to do a bullpen game at some point. So I figured today would have been the day that they're going to do that. Am I crazy about that? Not really, but you got to do it at some point just because of the way the schedule is. One of these games is going to be a bullpen game because Taijuan Walker's not here now. So That's why I thought maybe Alan Rangel would get called up, but I think he pitched the other night.
Why not? Yeah, he pitched Tuesday, but why not Bryce Wilson or somebody that can give you more
Yeah,
innings?
yeah. Bryce Wilson was available.
That's
That's what confuses me. Like, and I got to double check here. Frank, you would probably know this on top of your head. Bryce Wilson's on the 40-man, right?
He's not, so they would have to make room.
Yeah, so they would have to add. Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of the dynamic that they got. I mean, they don't have a number of the players in Lehigh in the 40-man roster. But look, the game is 2-1. You cannot get a hit. I mean, we need Harper. Harper's coming up. I mean, hopefully he can get one out of the park. I mean, it's we just need to get going, guys. Oh, the pitcher got hurt.
Oscar, we talked about this the other day. This was a series where you had the pitching advantage in all 3 games, and now I know Hauser's nothing special, but now you're going with a bullpen game, and you're losing your game with your ace right now. This Phillies offense needs to pick it up.
That's just so frustrating. Like, Sanchez, he looked bad for maybe only 3 total minutes of this game. Like, he wasn't perfect by any means, but he gave up his 2 runs in, the first 3-4 minutes of the game, and it was kind of flawless since. He had a couple of walks, but, I mean, you got to score more than 1 run.
Yeah. By the way, Sanchez, 85 pitches, 6 2/3, bases empty today. That's when he got the hook from the game. And last night, Luzardo, 88 pitches in 7 innings, and he was removed from the game. Is that a little foreshadowing of how Don Mattingly handles his pitching staff?
I hope not.
Potentially. Potentially. Here's an interesting stat on Christopher Sanchez. I was looking at his numbers because he does not look as sharp as he looked the last couple of years. And they're hitting against his fastball. Last year, they hit 269. This year, 371 against his sinker. And he hit against his slider. Last year, 252. This year, 368. So the only pitch that he's still being effective, and last year was 170, and this year is 208 batting average, is his changeup. So his changeup has been effective.
And he's openly.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah. Yeah, he's openly admitted that his changeup hasn't been that great this year. So
and he has been better, and he's his better pitch. And he's his better pitch based on the stats. So
it seemed like it started working better after that first inning today. It seemed like he finally kind of commanded it, and it started because after that first inning, he did settle into this game. It's just unfortunate that they just can't get any offense going again. And look, you got 1 run in the 8th inning now.
I think they're putting too much pressure on themselves. I mean, Charlie Manuel used to say it. I mean, you need to step up to the plate, and you cannot think. You just need to relax. You need to relax at the plate, and I just think they're too tight. Everybody's trying to become kind of a better version of themselves or being a hero, and you just need to relax. Go out there and let your natural ability go. Like Harper here hit a foul ball. I mean, he hit it solid, but.
Top of the order just went 1, 2, 3. By the way,
there you go. You're ahead of us. They
You're
don't give us the live feed here.
A little bit. Yeah.
Jeff's at the ballpark. He is at Citizens Bank Park. We are at Ventnor Social. It's our Phillies fastball segment. Real quick, you got and Oscar. I just wanted to follow up. You're talking about putting too much pressure on yourselves. You get the manager fired. You would think that the pressure might lessen a little bit, and now you got to go out and play a little loose.
You can't. I mean, because what happened is personal, right? It's me. I mean, look at Trey Turner. I mean, what is Trey Turner? Where is Trey Turner today? I mean, this guy. I mean, to me, he's not getting good at bats. 246 batting average after hitting 300 last year. 674 OPS. I mean, look. You're being paid to hit. I mean, basically, to run and to hit, and you're not doing it. And he's not there because of his defense, believe me. I mean, he's there because of his OPS is 674, unacceptable. I mean, Adolis Garcia, we know what we're gonna get. I mean, his numbers are what he did last year: 236, 698 OPS. I mean, that's who he is. I mean, March, he's doing his part. I mean, Alec Bohm, and absolutely, atrocious as well as Alec Bohm. So it's Bryson Stott. So it's very concerning. It's very concerning, and hopefully, what is it, Donnie Ball, as we call it, can get this team over the hump. But what we're seeing today is what we've seen, throughout the year in terms of from a hitting perspective.
This is very interesting, by the way. Tanner Banks is coming out to start the ninth, so I'm
not surprised.
I'm really curious. Yeah, I mean, I'm not either, but to me, it's just different because you're used to these guys being out after the inning. But
Jeff, what's the latest on
Magley's gonna do
Jeff?
it.
What's the latest on Duran?
Looks like he's going to be back. So he's throwing again, so he's going to be back soon. Don Magley did not speak to us for the game, by the way, because he spoke last night and he kind of kept the same lineup. He's going to speak in between games today, which is going to be interesting. So, I'm curious to hear a little bit more about Duran. I do know JT will be back by Saturday.
I know he's been throwing. They might put him in a game or two. I mean, probably one game, and just get him going.
It's very encouraging that he's throwing already.
Yeah, he is. I heard it last week that he was throwing. I mean, actually, Tupper said it last week that he was throwing out of all people. Yeah. So,
just one question for you. Do you tinker with this roster more? I mean, I know there's not a lot on the pitching side down at AAA, but do you call Christian Cairo and do something bold like take Bryson Stott off the roster for a while to go down to AAA and clear his head?
I always wondered that, like, if there's something they could do, because you can't really move Alec Bone down, right? But you can move Stott down because he's only in year 4, so there'd be a way to do it. The problem is, who's going to replace him, right? I don't think Mundo Sosa can play every day. Carter Keyboom, I wouldn't add him to the 40-man. Like, it's funny, Frank. When you watch Lehigh's roster, you're like, outside of Felix Reyes, who's here now,
Christian Cairo is doing okay. I mean, he's not going to light the world on fire, but I mean, he could give you some capable defense.
But can he give you what Bryson Stott's giving you right now? I don't know.
I really don't think he can match. I think he can match what Bryson Stott's doing right now. I mean, the Phillies did take the step of adding him to the 40-man roster, so he can go back and forth. So that would be something I would consider.
What I would do is, before doing that, is I would sit him a couple games, a couple days, just to ease their minds before making moves with the minor leaguers. Because, I mean, what happened is Stott, despite the fact that he's not hitting, he gives you Gold Glove second base. So I would, like Alex Bohm, I would sit him a couple of days, just tell him to relax his mind. I mean, as Mike said, he got 2 hits in the last game. Hopefully he can keep it going today. But I'm a big believer on sitting them down a couple of days, not just one, and just help them kind of ease their mind, don't having the pressure of every at-bat every single day, and just get them going. But, I mean, as you said, Frank, there's not going to be too many days off moving forward, so that creates a complication here.
Big time. And, as Frank mentioned earlier, you're going with a bullpen game today, so now you're going to be short going into the next series probably on your bullpen. You've already had to use Banks for multiple innings today. You went to Kirk Green early because, obviously they took Sanchez out of the game, and now you're going with a bullpen game. So it looks like your bullpen's already going to be short.
That's part of the challenge. That is part of the challenge.
I have a feeling Zach Pop's starting game 2, but I could be wrong.
Okay,
probably. He did it last time, so he might pitch an inning or two, just trying to get what he's trying to do with Banks is just trying to buy innings. I mean, he's doing a good job, right? Two outs so far?
Banks, yep, 2 outs here in the, the 8th?
Yeah.
Bottom of the 8th, top of the 8th?
Yeah, and the problem is you could bring a guy like Gene Cabrera. You could have brought a guy, but Cabrera has a 7.71 ERA in the minors right now. I mean, so it's
he's not ready.
Yeah, and Angel Rangel has 270, but he came in the other day. He did not look as good. So it's. I mean, you have your hands tied up.
Yeah.
I agree with Frank.
I
think I will went with Bryce Wilson today. But again, you have to have him to the 40, and you don't have him.
One thing they do not have is a lot of organizational starting pitching depth. That's they don't have the Mick Abel hanging around. That's like right there, ready to go. They don't have that guy here. They don't have the Taijuan Walker, who's kind of like the, journeyman. Bryce Wilson would probably be that guy. All right, 2-1 Phillies. Follow Jeff Kerr for the rest of this game at Jeff Kerr on the Twitter X, at Jeff Kerr PHL. You can follow him over there for everything for the rest of this game. Phillies Fastball coming back to you tomorrow right here on the show, and you can follow us on all our social media accounts for more Phillies Fastball. Thanks, guys.
Go Phils.
Thank you.
Go.
Thank you.
All right, and our Phillies Fastball segment, it's brought to you by Ventnor Social, the place to catch every Phillies game. They've got this one on if you want to stop out and check out the 9th. Ooh, that one gets by Bryce Harper with 2 outs in the 9th. And they'll have tonight's 5:35 first pitch and the Sixers tonight, 8 o'clock, Game 6 against the Celtics. A lot there we covered in our Phillies Fastball segment. I like the Bryce Wilson
And if Zach Pop is being activated, they got to clear some. They might have to clear some more space. They could get somebody through waivers. I'm not worried about that 40-man spot.
All right. Well, this hour of the show, it's brought to you by the law offices of Craig A. Altman, proud sponsors of Philadelphia sports coverage on 97.3 ESPN. And our Phillies watch party at Ventnor Social. Win a road trip to Camden Yards. Stop by Ventnor Social today for our Sports Bash Phillies watch party and enter to win a trip to Camden Yards in Baltimore to see the Phillies play the Orioles on July 31st. More Sports Bash coming up on 97.3 ESPN.
The NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio. The Pistons survive a must-win. Can they survive another must-win? Or will the Magic advance to the conference semifinals?
The way that we know how we play at home in front of our fans with that energy and that excitement in that building.
It's a pressure-packed Game 6 in Orlando. Game 6 of the Pistons and Magic.
Pistons, Magic, Game 6. Tomorrow night. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Your exclusive home for the NBA playoffs. 97.3 ESPN. It's the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
All right, live here at Ventnor Social. Well, Phil's today. Day baseball, you got 2 games today. Now, it was really supposed to be the 1 game for Ventnor Social, but the game got moved up because of the doubleheader. So we're at the 9th inning of this game. 2 on, 2 outs, and Chase Sugar has just come in and picked up a big strikeout. So we go to the bottom of the 9th, stick around, or come out and watch the 9th with us. And then the second game tonight is at 5:35. We'll have plenty of conversation on that. The Flyers coming up at 3 o'clock today. We'll get into the Phils and this game here. We'll recap at 3:30. Our Flyers insider Kevin Durso joins us here on the Sports Bash. This hour of the Sports Bash is brought to you by the law offices of Craig A. Altman.
Do not get left empty-handed when you get into an injury, car accidents, slip and falls, serious workplace injuries. You need someone to come in for you just like Chase Sugar came in to save the Phillies there in that inning. So you need the law offices of Craig A. Altman. Tough cases, tougher lawyers. Here's the key. You don't pay anything unless they win. Don't wing it. Don't guess. Call 856-327-8899 or visit CraigAltmanLaw.com. Visit my friends Craig Altman Law over in Violent, backed by affiliate law firm that knows how to win.
All right, Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. All right, coming up in the next hour, the Phillies, can they come back in this one? They are down a run here in the 9th. Can their offense finally get going? They scored 7 runs the other night, and then they've scored 1 run today. And that run came back in the first inning. So it's like the Rob Thompson Phillies offense is back. What do you know? The manager can't just push a button and the offense all of a sudden comes to life. Some of these guys just are not performing, and that's been the problem. We're going to get into that. Plus, our Flyers insider Kevin Durso, Football at 4, Andrew DiCecco. You know DiCecco knows the draft better than anybody else. He's going to break down each and every pick and how he sees them fitting in during the 2026 season tonight for Football at 4. Our Nuggets Plus coming up tonight. Paul Hudrick from the Xfinity Mobile Arena joins me at 5 o'clock as the Sixers try to extend their series and their season against the Celtics. We're live at Ventnor Social. Stop on out.
home of the Philadelphia Eagles.
They got him again!
Sixers.
Bang! It's good! Ball game!
And Flyers.
Tipped in front of the net!
97.3 ESPN. WENJ. WENJ HD. Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey.
All right, hour number 2 of the Sports Bash. We're live at Ventnor Social, and tonight they got Phils at 5:35. They got Sixers at 8 o'clock, and they'll be keeping the place going until the end of the Sixers tonight. And then Saturday, Kentucky Derby. You know, Jason Worth got a horse in the Derby this year.
Again.
Yeah. Now, we might be talking to Jason Worth on tomorrow's show. We have been in communication with Jay Worth, and he does have a horse in the race. No pun intended. Phil's down 2-1. Garcia with a leadoff infield single. Marsh struck out. And now Stott is up to bat with 1 on and 1 out here in the bottom of the ninth as the Phillies got a solo homer today from Kyle Schwarber, which it was like his 50-something first-inning home run, which was like something to do with
350 of his career, too.
350, right? He's catching, I think Dick Allen is actually next on the list of all-time.
Feels like he just hit 300, so he's
Well, he's cranking them out.
Yeah,
There's
sure
no question.
is.
But it was something about first-inning homers. It was Jimmy Rollins has something, and then I don't know. They said it during the broadcast. But this is a big at-bat for Stott here. If he's got a full count. So we'll keep that here. We were just having the Phillies fastball segment. Love catching up with Jeff, who was at the ballpark, and Oscar, who was the longtime play-by-play voice for the Spanish radio for the Phillies. So he's been around this Phillies team. How long is Oscar? How long was he doing the broadcast? He had to be there for, at least 5 to 10 years. I mean, he's been around for a while. He does the Eagles broadcast, too, by the way. So both guys very tapped in to the organization. Oscar told us great insight on Rob Thompson, his tenure as the manager, just kind of what kind of person he was. But I'd like to get, Frank, your assessment of what changes fans can expect with the managerial change, because you might be aware there were a lot of people that were kind of over Rob Thompson. By the way, Stott just ripped one into the corner. Adolis Garcia, he's going to come all the way around from first, and the Phillies have just tied this one up here in the bottom of the ninth. A triple for Stott, and the Phils have tied it up.
Now they're in business to walk it off.
Yeah, you can get a walk-off here.
Wow.
I was just about to talk about the possibility of optioning him to AAA, but maybe he just bought himself some more time. But really, really important that he comes up with a big hit. I mean, a lot of this is in their head. I know, as Oscar was saying. I mean, they're just trying to do too much. They're every at bat they're trying to hit a 7-run home run or win 4 games in a row with one swing. Not going to happen here. Finally, again, Stott with a contact bat. He finally makes some good contact, and it's nice to see the Phillies finally actually
show a little sign of life.
Yeah, show some life here. So,
and good job by the new third base coach to wave Garcia home. No more Dusty Wathan out there.
That's right, Anthony Contreras. But yeah, what should fans' expectations be? A lot of people just were done with Thompson, whether they liked him or not. I don't know, but I think a lot of people blame the manager for a lot of stuff, and a lot of people just think that Rob Thompson, Rob Zombie, a lot of people thought that he was not very engaged, made a lot of tactitional mistakes, specifically when it comes to, by the way, Crawford has
walked it off.
Won the game. An infield single for Crawford as he beats it out. And Stott has come around to score, and the Phillies have just walked it off 3-2. Boy, it was
my things have changed.
Gloom and doom a minute ago, and now you're looking to sweep the series.
They needed this so bad. Yeah.
This goes back to Saturday night. I was watching the game side by side with the Flyers game, and I actually said to my buddy, the Phillies need this game more than the Flyers need this game. And it's April, and the Flyers were up 3-1 in the series at the time, and they're trying to close it out, a young Flyers team. But I almost agree with you that they needed this to kind of keep this goodwill rolling.
Yeah, and they need to sweep some series, quite frankly. I mean, they have some ground to make up, so they need to win this second game of the doubleheader, which is a shame they don't have a starter, and they're going to have to go play around with the bullpen.
This is the
Bobby
glorious song right here for Justin Crawford, and this is where, look at this, he beats it out, and it was clear that he beat it out, so the Giants couldn't really challenge it either. So let's get back to the question I've tried 3 times here. The fans, not big fans of Rob Thompson. There's a lot of people who thought, as we said, Rob Zombie, he doesn't do anything. I think the managerial mistakes he's made in some playoff games recently began to really stand out. I've been on record. I would have got rid of Rob at the end of the playoffs, not because I think it's his fault, but for this reason. Because if the team that you didn't change the roster, you had to change something. And I thought, okay, I can't get rid of any of these guys. I'm bringing back the same team. I got to maybe turn it over to somebody else. That's why I thought they should have got rid of Rob in the offseason to prevent this. So what should people think could change?
That's a great question, and I don't think a whole lot. I mean, I think this is designed simply to shake up the players that are on the roster, so that they could look in the mirror and say, we just let our guy Rob go. And they're going to feel responsible for it. But you got to shake it up some way. You can't change the players. That's an old adage. I mean, the Phillies, they don't have a lot to turn to at AAA. I mentioned Christian Cairo, but he's the one 40-man roster guy that's playing somewhat reasonably at AAA, and he's not going to come up and be a starter for you. So the Phillies don't have a lot of options on the field, and I think that this was the only thing that could possibly mix them up a little bit.
Let's talk about this, because yesterday John Morosi, I don't know if you saw his tweet, he said he talked to Dave Dombrowski, and Dombrowski had said this is the earliest that he's ever had trade conversations. So if they make a trade, and we've been saying a right-handed middle-of-the-order bat for 3 years now, they can't find one. What else should they be looking for? Now, we all know they need a right-handed bat to hit in the middle of the order. I don't know that guy exists. I don't know if you have that guy in your head. If you do, feel free to name him. But if not him, how else can they tweak this team?
At this point in the season, and yes, I was surprised he openly said he was having trade discussions this early. I mean, there's not a lot of teams making trades because let's face it, most of these teams think that they're in it right now. I mean, even you had the day he said the Pirates were 3 games above 500. They're very much in it. So there's really no clear trade partner except for maybe the teams that are like the Phillies and scuffling. Are there some change of scenery candidates on other rosters? And, I kind of threw out there, do you build a trade around Alec Boehm and Caleb Durbin, for example? Now, Durbin also, like Boehm, scuffling a lot, also plays third base. He's up in Boston. Does that change of scenery do something? Now, I think Boehm's upside is bigger than Durbin's in a lot of ways, but, of course, Durbin's signed for many more years to come. So other pieces would have to be there. But
Randall Grichuk was DFA today. Is he a guy?
No. In fact, the funny thing, I know he's your guy.
No, he was last year.
For the last 5.
But before last year, I said, look, he's a right-handed bat that matches left-handed pitching. He has not in the last 2 years now.
It's funny. Tommy Pham also now available. All these right-handed bats that were trade deadline options we've talked about the last 4 years.
A lot of these guys, I think, are starting to get older, and they were marginal players to begin with who were platoon players. But the Phillies need platoons. They need if they're going to stick with the platoons, they have to better their platoons. Their platoons, you said, you don't like running 3 platoons out there, but a lot of teams do it. I mean, a lot of teams are running 2 and 3 platoons. The Phillies are not the only team that are running platoons here.
And the reason you don't do that is because then you have to carry a Dylan Moore who plays a bunch of positions, who also doesn't hit. So
but I think they could play that better. To me, Dylan Moore serves no purpose. I know you have said, well, he can play second. He's never going to play second. He can play short. He's never going to play short. He can play third. You never need him to play third. He can play the outfield. I don't need him to ever play the outfield. The only thing would be if somebody got hurt.
Right, and that's why you need your last guy on the bench to fill in wherever you need to, because you've depleted the rest of your bench. Because if a reliever comes in, you've just flopped your platoon over to the other side and just burned multiple players. That seems to be what kept happening in recent months.
you can now, I don't know what your thoughts are on Kemp's future. I was never a big Kemp guy, so I'm not sitting here lobbying for Kemp. I put out a tweet the other day. I don't know if you saw it, and a lot of people loved it. Other people thought I was a complete idiot. So it was 50-50. What a world we live in,
I
right?
did see this go viral a little bit, yeah.
it had over like 90,000 views. And a lot of people liked it. I said, look, if you don't want to fire the manager and you want to really shake some things up, I'd bring up Dante Nori and just play him in left field. Move Marsh to right field and platoon him with Garcia. And now your platoon is at least 2 major leaguers. And then I would play Kemp at third and DFA Bohm and send a message to the team that we're not playing well enough, and this guy just lost his job because of it, for 2 reasons. One, you're not bringing Bohm back next year, right?
Correct.
So if you DFA him, what's the loss? Is sending the message to the rest of the team that his play got him fired.
Yeah, I think so.
And I said I would bring up Kemp, and I should have added until Miller is healthy enough. And people are so down on Kemp saying, well, he stinks. He can't play third base as it is. I said, you know what? The guy, and I'm not a Kemp guy, so you don't have to sell me on Kemp, but you could try to sell me on my idea was, you know what? We were told the guy could hit. He's never got a chance to just play third base. Now, he's not a great third baseman, but maybe his bat would wake up by playing a position he feels more comfortable with and playing every day. Playing him in a new position and then not every day, I can't imagine set him up for success.
Yeah, in fact, I think I said this on my podcast when he got sent to AAA. I would have started
the Run It Back podcast, and they have run it back.
They have certainly run it back. So they my opinion was they should have sent him to AAA and just let him play third base for several days in a row, get his bat going again. That's what I would have done. Because as you said many times in spring, Kemp.
Okay.
I would have just put him at third base at AAA, just let him get his head back on straight, and focus on swinging the bat where he's comfortable in the field. But as you said a lot in spring training, they didn't necessarily set him up for a good left field either because he served as first baseman. He served as DH way more than he should have in the month of March down in Clearwater there. And so, I'm just looking up now his fielding numbers at AAA and what they're actually doing with him. But so far at AAA, he's had 4 games in left, 2 at third base, and 1 is a DH. So he hasn't exclusively played left field, but still, I think that he is the one you want to plug in if something happens with Bohm or you feel like you have to make a change there. So I think he's better served at this point setting up as somebody who could come in and spell at third base if necessary. So I would get him primed for that as best as possible. They have other outfield options. You could play Reyes more. I mean, nobody determined that Reyes couldn't play against right-handers yet, but yet he's not playing against right-handers at the moment.
But that's the thing, Frank. Where do you get him any regular playing time? Felix Reyes is a guy that has to play. You can't have these young guys come up and have them be the platoon players because the right-handed bat in the platoon doesn't play enough. So now you're stunting his growth too.
Yes. So
the platoon, by the way, is for a veteran player. Dave Gallagher, who comes on our show pretty much weekly, that's a platoon player who says, I'm a veteran player. I've been in the league 9 years. I'm a platoon player, not a 24-year-old kid.
No, I'm with you 100%, and I do think that the answer for the Phillies to add at any point, I don't think Nori is the answer just yet, but it's clearly a left fielder, and I think it clearly means that Marsh and Garcia become that platoon, and it's going to be in right field.
Yeah, and listen, I don't know that Nori's the answer right now either. He's 21 years old. He hasn't reached over Double-A, but to me, I'm saying if I'm just trying to make a drastic eye-opener, that dude can hit. I feel like I don't know that he can hit now, but I think he can hit. I mean, he showed in the World Baseball Classic he can hit. He's shown it single-A, he can hit, double-A, he can hit. And he's not only that he can hit, his on-base is high, his OPS is high. So he looks like a guy. He just has the look of that pain in the ass. Like, I just can't get this guy out. You know what I mean?
I like it. His bat sort of reminds me a little Raul Ibanez, watching him swing the bat. So I think he needs more time down there, that's for sure. But I think he could be someone who claims an outfield spot in the future. And again, with Brandon Marsh, if he's not an everyday player, maybe you rather have an everyday player instead. And I realize that's something you have to think about big picture. It could be Nori down in the future, but I don't think he's ready yet. But left field is the place where I think they can add a bat at some point this season.
And we know it's preferably a right-handed bat. We've been
A
all looking
right-handed
for
bat,
it. Now,
yes.
you mentioned Stott. I mean, I wonder if they're looking to maybe get an upgrade at second base. Have they run thin on Stott? I know he just tripled there. Who knows if that gets him going?
Still, he's got to do more than once in a while. So, there were some rumors the Phillies might have been interested in Marte in the offseason. Diamondbacks ended up keeping him, but I mean, that could be why. I mean, he's an upgrade. He's an upgrade over Bryson Stott.
Marte would have been a significant upgrade.
I know you need some of your own young players to come up and take jobs, but at this point, I think we know what's not cutting it. And I'll say this too about this offseason. The fact that the Phillies, and to me the biggest disaster of this offseason was that the Phillies flirted with Bo Bichette and didn't come out on top. Everybody knew they were doing it. They failed. And then in turn, they just brought back everybody else. So I think that the psychological damage to a lot of these players on this team is because of that. Because they were told they were not good enough by Dombrowski looking in that aisle to shop.
And look, this is the kind of game where you expect him to kind of win these games, where they have really good starting pitching. Let's be honest. This season has got off to the start that it's gotten off to. In large part, yes, they haven't been able to score, but their pitching has been probably even more disappointing than their offense.
It sure has. Nobody expects Jesus Luzardo to have the start he did, and Sanchez not himself just yet. Nola, I think we're starting to ask the question: what do the Phillies actually have in Aaron Nola right now? Is he what you're seeing right now? Is he what he was before last year, before he got hurt a little bit? So I also want to consider the possibility of those that pitched in the World Baseball Classic and what it did for their build-up to the Major League season, because normally you go down to spring training, you pitch a couple innings, and you pitch 3 maybe, then 4, then 5, and then you kind of build your way into the season. But Nola, Sanchez, they were pitching some meaningful games, high leverage games.
What do you make of the WBC and the guys who have played in the WBC? A lot of them seem to have like weird starts to these seasons.
Yeah, because they, all the adrenaline went into to those big games in the middle of March, and then all of a sudden, like, well, here's a couple of weeks to get yourself ready for the season, and then oh boy, there goes the season, and they're just all out of whack.
Here's a question for you: the right-handed bat. What if this time around they're able to go get? Oh man, I just had his name in my head. The center fielder from the Twins.
Oh, Byron Buxton.
Okay. What do you do in that situation where Crawford is now your center fielder? You have a weird situation that if you move Crawford to left, I don't know that they really want to platoon Garcia. I don't know. What would you think?
I would. I mean, if you can get
Because it
Byron
would turn
Buxton,
into what you had last year with Kepler and Castellanos. You could have Marsh and Garcia,
and then you have Crawford in left, and then
right.
Then he could take some days off with Reyes. But I think that's what you need to do. You need the sure bat. Buxton, who knows? I mean, Minnesota unloaded a lot of talent last year. He said he didn't want to move. It's kind of sounded like later in the season he was starting to change his tune. So maybe this is the year they can get him. So especially you get closer to the end of the deal, it's easier to do that. But I mean, the Twins, they committed a lot of money to him. He didn't really want to go anywhere, but he signed that 7-year, $100 million contract extension, several years ago. He's going to be he's getting to the end of that. He goes through 2028. So. This might be the one opportunity they have to make a move like that, and so I think they'll talk that through.
By the way, the Phils win. They go to 11-19 with the win today. They do play again tonight at 5:35. With the win, they are still 10.5 games out. So, I mean, this is still a large mountain. Are you at the point, Frank, where you have moved on from the National League East and that basically the wild card, I know it's only April, but they're 10.5 games back, and that – I have a hard time seeing that Atlanta team bottoming out outside of injuries.
Yeah, I don't think
there's 6 out of the wild card.
By the way, I don't think you focus on the division right now. Right now, they got to get their affairs in order. They got to win some games. They need to sweep some series, and then I think by the time you get to like mid-June, you need to be at or around the 500 mark so that you can start to create some distance. Because last year at the trade deadline, if you were like 2-3 games above the 500 mark, you were very much in it. And so I think that they just need to worry about taking advantage of some of these series in the next couple of weeks. I think they need to have a strong showing in Miami. They need to have a strong showing against the Rockies, hopefully sweep a team like the Rockies. Athletics are better than they've been, but they got to take that series too. I mean, they need to start.
They have a
some
string
Ws.
of games up until they play the Dodgers. I forget what that string, but they play the Dodgers sometime in May.
Yeah, they go to Boston, so May 11th. That's our next day off, and then they go to Boston after that. So I mean,
check out that Dodger series. When they play the Dodgers, up to that Dodger series, they really don't play a team that's much over 500 than more than 2 games over 500.
Yeah, so after they get to that Boston series, that's the 12th through 14th. Then they go to Pittsburgh, home against the Reds.
When's that Dodger series?
Dodger series is until the 29th of May.
Right. So from now till the 29th of May, you got to start making up some ground because you have a lot of favorable matchups before you face the Dodgers. The Dodgers series is really the first one they have coming up where obviously they're very good. Not anybody else leading up to that is much more than a mid-level mediocre team.
Yeah, I mean, the Red Sox very much underperforming this year so far, so you would have thought they would have done better. I mean, in a lot of ways, they're like the Phillies. Of course, they fired their manager, for really clearing out that whole staff. But yeah, the Phillies then really essentially have.
Why do you think that happened? What was the disconnect there?
Craig Breslow, who is the new Red Sox GM, it sounds like he wants his people and he wants everything his way. Period. And so. He
went to the playoffs last year.
Yeah, but he's sometimes I've seen it in all kinds of businesses, right? The new boss wants their people in.
Yeah,
it happens all the time. So,
but
doesn't mean it's prudent. But
no, but I'm saying Cora, and we have this conversation and this talk all the time about how important a manager is and what their roles are. I mean, it's pretty obvious that Breslow is a very analytics laden guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if Cora was like, we're going to do it my way. And they did it his way for as long as they could. And now that they struggled, Breslow said, I'm going to take the opportunity to move on because you're struggling. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, they were definitely different philosophically. So, I mean, but hey, we know that he and Dombrowski are aligned because he openly.
Now, would you say on April 30th that Alex Cora will be the next Phillies manager?
I say more likely than not.
Yeah. But, okay, because this is such a weird one. What happens if Mattingly gets them to the playoffs or goes to like Thompson did? Then what?
Yeah, then that's a harder question. I mean, but I think though, unless he wins,
nobody puts any stocks into him saying he didn't want to manage anymore.
Unless he wins the World Series, I mean, I think that
even if he gets there, that's a hard way to say, "Yo, buddy, thanks for playing, but you're out, and your son's your boss."
Good point. But I think that. I think because of the way he went that hard and was that open about it, I feel like he's going to get it done. I mean, nothing against Mattingly, but Mattingly will still be part of the organization.
Now, everybody, and we're going to get to Durso on the other side, but a lot of people have looked at this Phillies team and said, why would anybody want to manage this team? You got all these. They do have a lot of contracts. Do you look at this future and say it's bleak? Because you're stuck with Harper, you're stuck with Turner, you got Real Muto, you got the Nola. Those 4 contracts are pretty bad. But Bohm will be gone. Stott you can make a decision on. Marsh, you do have Crawford up, you do have Painter up. Garcia will be gone. I mean, you could kind of change this team around pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think so. But you're right. There are many high-dollar, long-term contracts that aren't going anywhere, which does complicate matters. But the Phillies have some money, and I think a lot will depend on what this next CBA looks like.
All right, we're live at Ventnor Social. Come hang out with us. Got a couple people hanging out at the bar for the Phils. They just won 3-2 on a walk-off. Bryson Stott triple. Sets up the win as he knocked in the tying run, and then a Justin Crawford infield single wins the game for the Phillies. They're down all day long, and they come back at the bottom of the 9th and win it. Can they get the sweep? Game 2 tonight at 5:35. You can watch the game here, then stick around and watch the Sixers tonight as they take on the Celtics for game number 6. We'll talk to Paul Hudrick. But when we come back, the Flyers have eliminated the Penguins, and they will go to Carolina. How did it all come together? We'll talk to our Flyers insider, Kevin Durso, coming up next.
The NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio. The Pistons survive a must-win. Can they survive another must-win? Or will the Magic advance to the conference semifinals?
The way that we know how we play at home in front of our fans with that energy and that excitement in that building.
It's a pressure-packed Game 6 in Orlando. Game 6 of the Pistons and Magic.
Pistons, Magic, Game 6. Tomorrow night. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Your exclusive home for the NBA playoffs. 97.3 ESPN. It's the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Keeping the fans entertained and happy.
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Flyers win the faceoff. Here's Cam York again. Over the bat by Michkov. Michkov gets it back across at the line. York with a shot. They score! Cam York from the point of the Flyers win it in overtime. And they're headed to the second round as they send the Pittsburgh Penguins packing in overtime.
All right, there was the call last night. Tim Saunders with a great call on 97.3 ESPN.
I got a quick question for you before Durso. Is that bat spike territory for you? Hoskins bat spike? For me, it is.
It's not bad.
I mean, that place
a bat
was bonkers.
spike. A bat spike in.
Now, York did have the stick toss.
He did throw the stick. That's
so
pretty good.
That counts.
Just say a bat spike home run is tough to top.
A Game 6 OT winner with a stick toss into the crowd.
It was a great moment.
And he launched it.
He did. Well, he got called out by – he basically got called a words we can't use on the radio by his former coach, John Tortorella, called him a –
And Torts is still coaching Vegas. They won last night in OT.
Yeah. Well, guess what? It was a great moment. I don't know if it beats the bat spike, though.
It's close.
It's up there. Kevin Durso covers the Flyers for 97.3 ESPN.com. The Flyers will move on to take on the Carolina Hurricane. We'll certainly have every game for you right here on 97.3 ESPN. Kevin Durso is with us now. Durso, I don't know if you've been in that building for a lot of bad moments. You were in there when the series started, and it was raucous. What was it like last night when Cam York buried that in the overtime period?
Complete and utter euphoria. Just a building that was waiting for something for, I mean, the whole 77 plus minutes of the game, but also years of waiting for a playoff moment like that. So it was all bottled up and ready to explode. And once the puck went in off of Cam York's stick, that little ricochet off the post and in, that was all that it took.
You covered Cam York last year. He obviously did not get along with Tortorella towards the end there, and maybe it had been the impetus of Tortorella's departure. Give us a little background on just his, high draft pick, been, I don't know, did we say disappointing so far? How would you kind of describe Cam York's tenure to that goal last night?
Yeah, I think it's something that's been building his entire career. He's kind of always been in the shadow of other players in his draft year, right? Like, it's always been they didn't draft Cole Caulfield and took Cam York. As the years have progressed, it's been they opted not to take Matt Boldy, who went to Minnesota, and Cam York was the guy they took. Because they traded out of the spot before Boldy was taken, and then picked York at 14th overall. And he's not this prolific guy at the top of your defensive core. He's a second pairing guy, and for where he was picked, I think there was disappointment about that. And now he's had his moment. He's had his playoff moment and a career moment for him, and it really defines kind of this. It really kind of defines this all for one for all kind of mentality that they have, because York was the only defenseman who played in every game in the series that hadn't scored a goal yet, and he gets his now. And Jamie Drysdale said something after the game to the effect of that he was due for one. I mean, he had gone since January scoring a goal in the first place, but also in the series, you're the only defenseman who hasn't scored. You want to join the rest of your teammates, and he picks the perfect spot to do it, obviously.
Give us the feeling in the building, though, as that third period is going on, and it's 0-0. And they're not getting much offense going. I mean, they could not get into the offensive zone. We're watching, and we're like, my God, they just can't even control the zone, let alone get a shot on net. So what's it like inside there?
Yeah, there was tension throughout the whole game, but as it got to the third period, I don't feel like everybody was, I want to say not worried about it, but the first period, fairly even. Second period, thought they got outplayed for portions of it, but they came on with a surge at the end. They actually took the lead in shots 21-19 after the second period. So you're kind of sitting there looking at that going, this is still okay. They're getting chances toward the end of it. They drew a penalty at the end of the second period. It's like, okay, maybe that opportunity is there, and you got to just win a period to get the series over with. And as that third period played out and Pittsburgh was clearly tilting the ice, and then same thing with overtime, you were just waiting. Forget about an opportunity. I mean, there were mistakes and there were opportunities for Pittsburgh to score, obviously, but you were waiting for also the bad bounce that went against you like the previous two games. You were just waiting for something that was not your luck to force this series back to Pittsburgh for Game 7. And credit to the defenseman, credit to Dan Vladar, obviously. That group of players held things down and made sure that, it was a bend but don't break mentality, and it got it done in this particular instance. So but that building certainly was feeling and hanging on every moment of those last 20 minutes in regulation and then the entire overtime, for sure.
Kevin Durso was there last night for 97.3 ESPN.com. 42 saves for Vladar. Had no shutouts in the regular season. He now has 2. He's the 5th goaltender in Flyers history with a series-clinching shutout. Pelle Lindbergh, Bernie Perrant, Brian Boucher, Ron Hextall are the others. Michael Neuwirth had 44 saves in Game 5 of the 2016 game against the Capitals. That's the most saves ever in a shutout for the Flyers. Vladar's 42nd are now the second most. We talked about him yesterday almost needing to be the first star, and he was.
Absolutely. And for me, that, and I didn't really bring him up when we talked about who that star was going to be, because I was trying to think of the player who needed to kind of meet the moment from the offensive side of things. But you don't apologize for good goaltending, and he's been the catalyst all season long. So it's funny because yesterday started, or somewhere around the early afternoon, with the Vezina nominees coming out, and he wasn't one of them. He was not in the top 3 of voting, obviously, when that's all said and done. And then delivers that performance, which is obviously the best that he's ever had in his career. This is the first time he's been a starter in the playoffs. And man, does he just rise to the occasion there for all the concern, too, because after Game 3, is he banged up too much? After Game 4, he makes the mistake behind the net. He says everything's good. If I would have just made 2 better plays on, stopping the Crosby power play goal and the mistake behind the net, we would have won the series then. He looks at Game 5 and brushes aside the fact that a bad bounce went against him and they lost that game too. He was rock solid the whole way through, just providing that stability. I think back to like years ago when they put out the documentary on the Broad Street Bullies, the concept that everybody in front of the goaltender knew that day, with Bernie Perrant in net, we're not losing. He's not going to give anything up, so we're going to win because he's perfect. I get the sense that started to filter in probably during the course of that second period and third period. He just was clearly unfazed by everything and was going to stop everything that came his way.
My question is, though, how? How? This is a backup guy, Calgary. I mean, when they made that signing, it wasn't like we've got our guy. I mean, this was essentially because Harrison wasn't ready.
Well, it goes in stages, right? Like, it wasn't just when he was signed and he's been a career backup. That was the role he was intended to have until you got to training camp and realized he was out playing Harrison at that time. The intention initially was that Harrison was going to be the guy, and now I don't think you can envision anybody else being your goaltender at this given moment, because he's been the difference maker in the regular season and now in the playoffs. He seems like a guy who, for all the years he's been in the league, was just looking for a chance and somebody who is going to believe in him as a starter. He's really big on the belief thing too. Like, and they're all wearing t-shirts that say "believe" on it. It's got the Bernie Perrant mask on it that they use to give out to the player of the game throughout the course of the season, after the games in the locker room. And he's a big believer of that having that belief both in himself and to calm everybody down. He's constantly this guy who's going over to the bench during the game, telling the rest of the team, we're good here. We've got this. It's not, this is not out of our control yet. It's not out of hand. We can still find a way to do things with this. And it doesn't, when he's putting up the numbers and the performances that he is, it's easy to buy into that.
Kevin Durso with the Flyers, of course, win last night. They will advance to round number 2, the last playoff overtime game-winning goal. In that building 14 years ago, it was Danny Briere in a 4-3 win over the Devils, April 29th, 2012. To the day, Kevin Durso. Crazy that it's been that long in there. But this is a very interesting series coming up. By the way, do we have any intuition on when this series might be kicking off?
So far, I do want to get to the Danny Briere thing for a second, too, because I have a funny story about that, or at least from my perspective. But Rick Tocchet spoke at about noon today and said they have no idea when their next game is at the moment. So they're waiting to find out as well. So don't hang on anything for right now. I think a lot of this depends on the results of the games tonight around the league and trying to sort out these other series.
I did hear, I thought Keith Jones did say that the earliest would be Saturday.
There were rumors of Saturday floating around. I'm sure that you could go any day after that as well. So Sunday would be on the table. It won't be later than Monday. I'll tell you that much, because by
Monday would be the latest. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's one of those three.
Right, because by Monday, there's no games in the first round left to be played. So they can start this series right away, knowing that they have the matchup locked in. So at the very and based on the way things are going, like if you try to slip one of these in on Saturday to get the series going, great. Then you can still kind of book Monday for game 2 at that point. So I would bank on them playing on Monday, and then just whether or not that's the first game or the second game.
All right, so Briere, he scores 14 years to the day. He's the last overtime winner.
Yeah. So in between the third period and overtime, I'm back in kind of the general gathering area of the press box, and Danny Briere came out of the management box and just had a look on his face that was like, man, I wish I was out there instead of up here. Like, and that was when it hit me that that's the last guy who scored in overtime in that building for the Flyers. That he's the last one who delivered a game-winning goal in overtime in the playoffs in that building, and he had very much the look of a player at that moment. Like, I wish I was doing this instead of sitting up here having to watch it. I'm sure it's more agonizing from his seat today than it would have been to have the control of being on the ice.
Good perspective. Give us the perspective of the 4 games. They all went to overtime. We know the Flyers won one of them in a shootout. It was on the clinching game. It's ironic. Carolina sits their guys. You win that game, and now you face off. It could be poetic justice potentially here. Or is it just, no, Carolina, now they all went to overtime, but Carolina has been flat out better than you all year.
Well, they have, and there's no taking away from that. This is instead of going up against a team like, I remember you pitched this question to me. I think it was actually done as more of a fan mailbag type question about if they got into the playoffs and played in the first round, would they have a shot to win a series? And at the time, it felt like the only viable path in the playoffs was playing Carolina first round or a team like Tampa. And I said, probably not going to win a series like that. But when you got into the first round and had Pittsburgh in front of you, you had another team that was way closer to your level, and you really legitimately had a shot, as they proved in this series. You know, you kind of take some of that and throw it out the window now, because you're going to be one of 8 teams left playing when all this sorts itself out and the next round really gets going. So everybody's kind of got a shot. Carolina is more of a legitimate cup contender than the Flyers are, and probably will be for the next several years. But you never doubt anything. And I'll tell you what, the main X factor here is going to be the goaltending. If Dan Vladar is the goalie that you saw in Game 6, you always have a shot to win with goaltending like that. And I would consider, again, as much as Carolina has a great overall team, I would give the Flyers the edge in the series in the goaltender for the overall body of work for the season, because as great of a series as Freddie Anderson had for Carolina when they swept Ottawa, and his numbers are outstanding, his regular season numbers were not very good and kind of more along the league average, and Vladar was in that next tier of above average goaltending for the regular season. So that would be probably my one key differentiator there, is you do have a goaltender who has been consistent, and if you can find a way to break through against their goaltender, not easy, and not easy to do with the way that they play. They're very a puck possessive team, and they're very tight and stingy defensively. But if you can find a way to break through, you always have a shot when you get the goaltending you did in Game 6.
And that's what I was going to say. You just beat Pittsburgh, an older team that hadn't been to the playoffs in a couple of years, and here they are. You advance. Carolina has been a team that generally gets out of the first round every single year. How different is their style as opposed to Pittsburgh, and the Flyers, how they match up with Carolina as opposed to Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I mean, the thing you can lean on is taking those games in the regular season to overtime is a great stepping stone for this. It's a great way to kind of reflect on that you could hang with the team. Now, granted, playoff intensity is elevated, so it's going to be even more than what it typically is in the regular season. They're a very aggressive team. Their penalty killing is aggressive. Their neutral zone play is aggressive. They want the puck at all times, and they tend to have their way with it most of the time. So when you were watching the third period and overtime, and it feels like Pittsburgh's got the puck for 90% of that, that's the way Carolina likes to play. So Rick Tocchet talked a little bit today about the bend but don't break kind of mentality. They're okay with giving Dan Vladar shots from the outside and letting him see them all the way, but they don't want those cross ice, weak side goals that open up opportunities for guys to be able to be wide open for a goal. You didn't see that a whole lot against Pittsburgh. They did maintain the structure as best they could, even though the possession numbers felt like they were lacking for the Flyers in that, especially down the stretch of that series. But certainly that's Carolina's bread and butter, that they focus on possessing as much as possible. They're a shot volume heavy team, so they will take a lot of shots on goal. And, you just need to maintain your structure and get the goaltending. That would be the first steps of this if you want to have a chance to compete in this series.
All right, Kevin Durso, Flyers, Carolina, the Sports Bash. Now, we might be going. Is Kevin Durso in or out? We gotta figure this out here. This is a big one.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about it, Mike. I got you for sure.
We've already been scouting. We got a couple of Philadelphia bars down there that will host us if we want to go. So we'll probably be looking more if it gets back for Game 5.
Mm-hmm.
It might be. It seems too quick to turn this around right now. But after maybe a 2-2 series or a 3-1 Flyers lead, maybe, we'll see. We'll talk more about this Flyers and Carolina series. Kevin Durso, at Kevin_Durso. Check out all his coverage at 973ESPN.com. The Flyers are moving on to the second round, and we'll have it for you all right here on 97.3 ESPN. Durso, great job, man.
Thanks,
were all
guys.
over the TV last night, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Especially apparently when Travis Sanheim was on, which I not gonna lie, I wanted to get kind of right up front with him. He was outstanding in the series too, so I wanted to kind of get right up front with him, get a question in for him too. So appreciate you guys as always.
All right, man. Appreciate you and your coverage. Kevin Durso, everybody, our Flyers insider. We're live at Ventnor Social. You talk about the Flyers. I was talking before we got here today and went on the air. I said, how the crowd's been for the Flyers games? And she said, it has been mobbed in here. It has been such a great atmosphere for the Flyers. And I've seen some of their social media stuff of this place. Everybody in orange and black, and this place is just jumping. And the Flyers will start, as Durso just said, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. No later than Monday. So it looks like you're going to get a Flyers game either this weekend or on Monday. And
well,
when
it's
the
been so long,
out,
right? I mean, it's been so long since the Flyers went on a run like this.
Well, 2010 was the last time they really went on a run. So you're talking, 16 years since they really went on a run. They did get out of the first round in the COVID year. Since 2019,
and the bars
2020.
weren't even open for that time period.
Right. They will. They lost to the Islanders in that series in the 7th game in the COVID season. But you're looking for a place to watch the Phillies at 5:35 tonight. We're at Ventnor Social, and you can enter to win a trip to Baltimore to go see the Phillies play. Vince is over there. He's got the drop box. All you got to do is drop your name in that box. And tonight, the Sixers, they take on the Celtics. And we'll talk more about that with Paul Hudrick later on. We're Sports Bash coming up.
It's Sixers-Celtics Game 6 tonight. Listen as Tom McGinnis calls all the Sixers playoff action.
Up top to BJ, three-pointer by Edgecombe. It's up and good. BJ struggled from beyond, but not that time. He buried it, and the Sixers 109, Boston 94. They've come in here to TD Garden, and they're going to win their second straight.
The Sixers face the Boston Celtics tonight. Game 6. Coverage begins at 8 p.m. on South Jersey's home for Sixers playoff basketball. 97.3 ESPN.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
You're listening to the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
And it just keeps getting better.
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Philly fans expect their teams to be good, to be competitive, to win. And when they're not, especially when expectations are high, they're going to let you know it, that they're upset.
Pat, you know Philly sports inside and out. Do you think they went to the game thinking, wait, what if we're showing on the screen what happens? Or they never even thought about the fact that, like, hey, all of us are here. We're pretty damn famous in this town. We're at a playoff hockey game, a closeout game, by the way. Like, oh, we better be ready for this. Like, what was their mindset going in?
I'm positive they knew they were going to get shown because they all sat together, and also that they were going to get booed. Like, there was no way going into that. They were like, oh, no, they're going to cheer us for sure.
But, like, I would look at this and say that's what makes Philly a great sports town. I feel like Michelle Smallman, Courtney Cronin, Midwest nice.
No.
Do you feel that way or no?
I think it's hilarious, but they stink right now. They should
stink.
get booed.
I think
have no
this
issue with
shows why they're great sports fans, because they care so much.
All right, that's our Unsportsmanlike moment of the day. It's a good one today. It's brought to you by Broadleys Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Call 609-390-3907. Now, I disagree with Pat Costello. I don't think the Phillies thought they would be booed. Do you?
I don't think they thought so either.
No way. Like, I know they've been bad, but you're in the game. They're at the Flyers game, supporting the Flyers on a day where they got rained down. It's like, hey, let's go and support them. And they got booed. There's no way they thought they would get booed.
I don't think they would have thought so, but
would you
they're
have
being
booed
a little
them?
naive.
What,
No,
what
I
would
mean,
make somebody physically say their Phillies are on the screen and I'm going to boo these
Well,
men?
that shows you how toxic the fan base is sometimes.
Well, they're saying, so the other debate was, does that mean you're a good fan base or a bad fan base?
I mean, the Mets would probably get booed, right? If the Rangers were in the playoffs or something like that.
If you put if you put the Mets on the screen,
yeah, in New York, I mean, they would get booed.
You put them on the screen. There's no way they thought they were getting booed.
But this day isn't about them, right? So, I mean,
still, you put an Eagle on the screen and the place goes nuts.
Yeah, they beat Doc all the time and all the other.
No matter what,
They did have some of their kids with them too. I mean,
you put a Flyer guy on the screen at a Phillies game, they get cheered. It might be like a smaller cheer.
well, I'm sure some of the Fly guys will be at the game tonight, Sixers game tonight.
The other night, they drafted Lemon in the first round. He rang the bell. They cheered him.
BG.
Think Cam York will ring that bell tonight.
Oh,
yeah.
If I was Sixers PR, I'd be right on that.
That's the guy who rings the bell.
That's the guy tonight, Cam York, right?
Cam York or Vladar.
Yeah, or Darth.
Or both of them.
Yeah, both of them. Yeah.
But I don't think they thought there was any way they were getting booed.
Kind of got to hold them accountable, I
If the
suppose.
Flyers had any inclination that they thought that they were going to get booed, you think they would have showed the whole boots on the screen?
They would not have.
Now, that being said, it makes you a great fan base. The team stinks, and they got booed out of the joint during a playoff game when the team's in a clincher. I loved it. By the way, Rob Thompson's first game after taking over, 10-0 win. Don Mattingly, 7-0. 2 days later, come from behind, walk-off win in the ninth. Poetic justice for Don Mattingly. A come-from-behind walk-off win for the Phils in Game 1. It's football at 4 next.
South Jersey's official play-by-play home of the Eagles, Sixers, and Flyers.
At 0 point would I ever consider not being a fan of the team.
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey.
And Football at 4 is powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. It's brought to you by the Fanatics Sportsbook at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. It's the place to go with the big screens, the big bets. Game day hits different at Ocean Casino. Huge screens, great drinks, and all the sportsbook action you want. It's the perfect place to catch every play and celebrate every win. I'm sure it was rocking for the Flyers last night. Live Phillies today. We are at Ventnor Social, by the way, if you want to stop out with us and watch the Phillies game. And then, of course, if you're looking for a place tonight for the Sixers and Celtics game number 6. We will get into that, of course, later on. Paul Hudrick joins us at 5 o'clock for Paul. He will be live at Xfinity Mobile Arena. But a week ago, the Eagles made their first-round pick, and it was Makai Lemon. Let's get Andrew DiCecco's thoughts on that. And he had predicted on the show that the Eagles would trade up. Monroe Freeling was there at 19. Andrew, was that who the Eagles were trying to maneuver up to go get? He goes at 19, and then they have a guy they like in Lemon still on their list. What do you make of their night trying to, possibly move up a little further? Because it sounded like they wanted to try to get to 15, 16, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I mean, that was my presumption, Mike, that Monroe Freeling was the guy, but I haven't gotten that confirmed. But one can sort of draw conclusions knowing how much time they spent really evaluating the offensive tackle position and some of the preeminent players at that position. So I think it was more so they saw value. They didn't expect Makai Lemon to be there. There was a need for wide receiver, and it certainly aligned. I really like the pick. I think he's someone who projects as an early impact kind of player. He can thrive over the middle of the field, win on some of those in-breaking routes, really, really razor-sharp route runner, can separate the top of the routes, and physical at the catch point. He kind of reminds me in body type and skill set like a Steve Smith, and then after the catch, he reminds me a little bit of Golden Tate, acting almost as a bowling ball and defenders being the bowling pin. He really fights for every yard. So it's a really good fit from an intangible, from a skill set perspective, based off of what we're expecting the Eagles to do under Sean Mannion.
Right, so they get him at 20. He is a slot guy. That's where he ran a lot of his routes. How do you think – now, we don't know what this offense is going to look like, but we kind of know what Mannion likes to do. Do you like the fit for this offense and with Jalen Hurts?
I like it in the sense that it's the way that you see a lot of these top-tier offenses operating. The Eagles haven't had a true slot receiver, middle-of-the-field type of guy who can move the chains and break some tackles and keep the offense on schedule. So from that standpoint, I do like it. I do have questions as to whether or not he will be as heavily involved as he would be ordinarily, and that stems from Jalen Hurts and the offense's aversion from really leaning into those mid-range throws. That's going to have to change, and I would imagine that it will under Sean Mannion. They're going to look to really tap into that aspect to unlock another element of the offense that really hasn't manifested over the years with Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, if you read the ESPN story, as I go back to that, inside the story, it said that he's as open to change now as he's ever been. And with that comes learning how to become uncomfortable, become comfortable being uncomfortable. And that includes some of those middle of the field throws, because let's not forget, Mike, it's not that he can't do it, because he has done it before. It's about doing it with consistency. And that has been largely absent of the Eagles' offense.
All right, good stuff there. Makai Lemon, and obviously he's the first-round pick. Eli Stowers, a guy that you know well. You talked to him. Give us some thoughts on how he might fit in with his skill set.
Yeah, really explosive athlete, needless to say, with his 45.5-inch vertical. His broad jump was off the charts, around a 4.51, and those skills, those explosive athletic traits, translate onto the football field. And he's sort of the modern NFL tight end in that he can be moved around formations. He's a matchup nightmare, but he's more right now based on body type and really his skill set. He's not an inline blocker. He's kind of a power slot, a big-bodied, plus-size wide receiver, really good route runner, good ball skills, and his background as a quarterback, as he mentioned in my interview with him before the draft, it really helped him when it came to learning the different intricacies of route running in terms of learning where landmarks are, what quarterbacks are looking for, and have that detail. So that really, to me, was evident watching him play. And I don't know how heavily involved he'll be in the offense this season, but in 2026, he's going to be a fixture in this Eagles offense.
Yeah, that's a good question. Is what do you anticipate that they has a role in this year's offense with his skill set, what he brings to the table, and what this offense is looking to do?
There certainly has to be a role for a dynamic athlete like that who can be that who can create mismatches and be that matchup nightmare that I was referring to. I don't know if he's going to see an influx of targets or how heavily utilized he'll be, because he is deficient when it comes to blocking, and I don't think it's fair for anyone to say that he's not good at blocking. I mean, he's not good at it right now, but it doesn't mean that he can't be, is what I'm trying to say.
Right, yeah.
He's willing, and I asked him a lot of questions about the blocking aspect of the position, and he's willing to do it. It's going to take a little bit of time. Do I think he'll ever be a dominant blocker? Certainly not. That's not his forte, but I think he can be markedly improved compared to where he is now. And then it becomes, incumbent upon tight ends coach Ryan Mahaffey to work on that area of his game and grow that. Zach Ertz wasn't known as a blocker, and he never really developed into much of one, but that didn't stop him from having a significant impact on the game and being a focal point in the offense. And no one really knew what Dallas Goedert was from a blocking element as well. And he really he turned into becoming an above-average blocker. So because of those things right now, while he's still learning that area, it limits overall what he can do in year one. But I think in year two he'll be heavily involved.
Andrew DiCecco, Football at 4, a look back at the draft class and get Andrew's take on it for the first time as they take Bell in the third round as a massive offensive lineman. Obviously, doesn't appear that he would have a role particularly this year. This seems like a pick for down the road, but played predominantly left tackle. So how do you see the fit with Philadelphia?
Yeah, I really like the player, and whenever I was asked about offensive tackles on day two, at the top of my list was Markel Bell out of the University of Miami. Now, you mentioned it, you outlined it well. He's more of a developmental prospect. He spent 2 years at junior college, then plays 2 years at Miami. He was a left tackle there, a big body guy, a little bit over 6'9", 346 pounds, moves a little bit better than you might expect for someone of that size, and has a lot of power, and that really reveals itself when you see him anchoring in the run game and bullying defensive linemen. That being said, he does struggle because he's taller when it comes to bending and learning how to use his body to his advantage. But he's such a big guy that you have to it's tough to get around him. And those kind of qualities and measurables are, you can't teach those things. I think he'll have to learn how to use his body from a technical standpoint to his advantage at the NFL level, but it could be a year or so down the line. But I do view him as a high upside swing there.
All right, and we had talked with Jeff on Monday show about, because Mekhi Becton got a look at guard, would this be something that you would think he would be a fit for or not at all?
He's a little bigger than Mekhi Becton, a little bit over 6'9". I think Mekhi Becton was 6'7". That was sort of the exception, not the rule. Jeff Stoutland was here, and he was the driving force behind that. And I think for what it's worth, looking back, I think Mekhi Becton's impact on the offense was a little bit overrated. I think it's a little revisionist history because there were moments where I thought that teams were able to kind of take advantage of him on that offensive line, and he was a dominant force in the run game. There's no disputing that, and I think that's also a byproduct of playing at the time between an all-star center in Cam Jurgens and Lane Johnson playing at the top of his game, and he still is. So, yeah, I don't know if that's the best fit for him. And right now, if you listen to Howie Roseman, he said the plan is to keep him at tackle.
All right, let's continue on. We're talking with Andrew DiCecco, Football at 4, looking back at the Eagles draft class. Cole Payton, kind of a Swiss Army knife here. People kind of saying Taysom Hill when he got drafted as a quarterback. He's kind of a dual threat guy there. 5th round is what's interesting to me. Usually a 5th round guy makes the team.
Right, and I actually had him in one of my 3 mock drafts. I think it might have been the first and second when the Eagles had 9 picks. I had him going at 178 to the Eagles because I just saw the value being too rich for them to pass up on. It was hard to imagine the Eagles coming out of draft weekend without a quarterback, and I like his skill set in that he brings something unique to the table versus someone like Kyle McCord, who really didn't have any glaring characteristics to his game. He was just a solid quarterback. But what Cole Payton can do is he gives you that dynamic ability as a runner, and he's so tough to bring down. He completed 72% of his passes. I spoke to his position coach yesterday, and what kept coming back to me was how diligent he is in the film room and how willing and open to coaching he is, and all those things that you like to hear. And he's going to get a lot of that here. He still needs a lot of refinement when it comes to mechanics. It's going to take a little bit of time for him to mold himself into an NFL caliber backup. But as you mentioned, you don't draft a player in the 5th round and part with them prematurely without giving them every opportunity. And I do believe that the Eagles view him as a nice cost-controlled option with developmental qualities. It just might take a year or so for that to really be fully realized.
All right, interesting prospect there. Michael Morris, this is an interior lineman, not a lot of college experience, played really 1 year at Georgia. Was I believe a left guard or a right guard, and then played a little bit at the other side. So I guess this would be your swing guard possibly.
Yeah, Michael Morris, if you look at the Eagles roster and how it's currently constructed now, I would imagine things to change. They could still use a veteran guard. He would have the best opportunity because the Eagles lack for a traditional vintage guard in terms of backups. You have players like Drew Kendall and Jake Majors and Willie Lampkin, but they're all centers by trade. Fred Johnson has kicked inside the guard, but he really earlier in his career, but he's really best suited to be a tackle. And so I look at Michael Morris coming from Georgia. You have the high pedigree, a little bit over 6'5", 334 pounds at the NFL scouting combine, and pretty athletic for as big as he is. And I said the same thing about Markel Bell. Looked like a Jeff Stoutland type of lineman to me, and maybe not what we were expecting going into it with what we were sort of imagining Chris Cooper would covet. But he played at such a high level at Georgia earlier in his career when he was a true freshman going against Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, I think almost helps shape you and prepare you for what's ahead. And then the versatility, I think, is what you like, being able to play the left or right side. He started 5 games at right guard in 2024, and then the full complement of games, 14, last season. So I think he's a player that you feel really good about, knowing that he's coming from a premier school and there's going to be opportunity there for him to land a roster spot.
All right, good stuff there because obviously they need some depth on this offensive line. We'll see how Bell first and, of course, Michael Morris move on. Cole Wisniewski, a 7th-round safety. So obviously, you've got Epps and Makuba, and Wisniewski here, a 7th-round pick. Does he have a shot to impress on this roster?
I really like the Cole Wisniewski pick. And one, he has probably, I mentioned the guard from Georgia as having a really good opportunity, and Micah Morris to make the roster. But Cole Wisniewski has a pretty clear path as things currently stand with the safety room. Do I think the Eagles are done at that position? Probably not. But Wisniewski is 6'3", 220 pounds. I did speak to his position coach as well. I mean, he moves a little bit better than he's given credit for. Highly instinctual football player, sound tackler, has a linebacker background, spent some time at North Dakota State before transferring to Texas Tech, led his position room in drills, in film study at oftentimes, and just an inherent leader with good communication skills. Now it's going to be about absorbing what is a pretty complex system where there's a lot of demands on the safety position and a Vic Fangio defense, and trying to get off to a fast start and carving out a role on special teams. That's going to be his pathway to the roster. What is he able to contribute in the third phase?
All right, a lot of people intrigued by that. Umar Bernard, I don't know that there's more of an intriguing guy in the entire draft class, Philadelphia or beyond, than this guy's measurables.
One of my favorite draft picks happens to be one who's never played football before, Mike. And look, when he had that dominant workout at the HBCU showcase and the International Pathway Player Pro Day, I made some calls because I wanted to learn more about this guy and get some more background. And I was able to glean a lot of pertinent information where, he lost his father at an early age, and he was presented with an opportunity to change the lives of his family. He was discovered a couple years early at a combine, wasn't yet of age. They pretty much said, you have a really good opportunity here. Work hard, train, and we're going to see you back here. And there is a funny story that someone who worked with him told me. They had like a pre-training combine in London in October. They couldn't find any shoes that fit him. And so he had to do the vertical jump in socks and still soared to 38 inches in the vertical. But you have to think of everything. He's never played football before. His diet changed dramatically, as I understand it, from preparing for the combine to what he was particularly used to prior. And I'm just fascinated to see what he's able to do when the pads come on and he's on a football field, because then it becomes, you got to master the hand utilization and the finer nuances of the position. It's going to take 2 or 3 years, I would imagine, for him to really become an NFL player, if he in fact does become an NFL player. But that kind of upside, you take a swing on that every time. And if the Eagles, if he were to land with any NFL team to give him the best chance at reaching his potential, it's Philadelphia, where they pride themselves on player development, and he lands with who I believe, in my opinion, is the best defensive line coach in the NFL in Clint Hurtt.
It'll be interesting to see. So what do they have to do with him? If they're so intrigued by this guy, and obviously we would be shocked if he contributed this year, does he have to be on the 53 and inactive on game days? How do they work that?
Yeah, I think you're allowed to have one player on the exemption list. I have to go back and check. But if he showcases any semblance of a player that has developmental qualities in the preseason or even in practice, the Eagles are typically reluctant to part with a player like that. And there's, the book's out on Umar Bernard. The secret's out. He's not sneaking up on anybody. There's going to be a lot of teams out there that I would imagine would be intrigued by, if he were to be waived, and try to bring him in and believe that they can develop him a little bit. So I think he'll be on the Eagles roster, and provided he shows them some signs of promise and continues to take steps in the right direction throughout the summer.
All right, and last guy is Keyshawn James Newby, kind of a vagabond, 3 different colleges, edge guy. Last year they took a chance on an edge guy in the 7th round as well, and that guy was a much more accomplished college player. Keyshawn James Newby, it would probably be a real long shot here.
Yeah, Antoine Powell-Ryland from Virginia Tech out of the 6th round is the name that you were looking for there. But, yeah, it's kind of fair to draw similar comparisons. Mike, you look at Keyshawn James Newby, began his career at Montana Tech, spent 3 years there. In his final 2 seasons, he had 4 and 5 sacks, respectively, goes to Idaho and does well there, transfers to New Mexico State. In his final 2 seasons, he combined for 19.5 sacks, had an abundance of tackles for loss. Not a big guy, 6'2", 238, and he's not a power rusher. He doesn't bring that power element, but as I understand it, he does have a pretty diverse group of pass rush moves, and he's quick, athletic type of player. He'll be 24 in August, so he's on the older side there, but he's going to have to really make his mark on special teams if he wants to improve his chances of sticking around on the 53-man roster, I would imagine.
All right. Your favorite pick of this class was who?
Eli Stowers, tight end, Vanderbilt. I think he just has so much.
That was a without
more
hesitation, by the way.
So much room to grow, Mike. Just 3 years removed from being a quarterback. And if you look at his 2 seasons at Vanderbilt, it seems like he's very much an arrow up kind of player, a modern NFL tight end that you can be really unique with in how you deploy him. I think his best football is certainly ahead of him, and I'm curious to see how the Eagles choose to exploit his rare athletic ability.
Would you think Mekhi Lemon has a big impact this year?
Yes.
All right.
I do.
To hear that. I love that pick, by the way. That was a
really good pick.
I loved it. Love that pick. And it'll be very incumbent on how Jalen Hurts works him in and how comfortable he is. All right. So after the draft, what's still left to do in your eyes?
Well, there's a few positions of need, Mike, that really stick out to me. Safety being one of them. They have Marcus Epps. You have Drew Makuba, Michael Carter II, J.T. Gray, Brandon Johnson. They have guys, but as myself or Adam Kaplan will tell you, depth is not about the amount of players that you have at one position. It's about the quality of those players. I have the sense that the Eagles aren't finished at that position. I don't want to exclude Cole Wisniewski either after just speaking about him. But then you look at guard. They lack for a veteran presence there at guard. Let's not forget that Landon Dickerson has been really snake-bitten when it comes to injuries, and I think it would behoove the Eagles to add some veteran security there. Doesn't have to be a big name, but someone who you feel confident can step in. And, yes, it would have to be a little bit more of an upgrade over like Nick Gates from a couple years ago. But they still need something there in my estimation. And then you look at defensive tackle. It's not a need for 2026 per se. You have your three guys that are etched in stone, and Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, and Moro Jomo. But then there's questions beyond that because Moro Jomo is playing on his the final year of his rookie deal. So is Byron Young. You have Ty Robinson, but he's sort of an unknown entity right now. Didn't play all that much on defense. He was an older prospect last year, and this is a big offseason for him. But I think at the bare minimum, you could stand to add a player who's going to push and challenge him in training camp. So I think that's an area that, for depth purposes, might be a little lighter, but it will certainly be something that comes to the forefront next offseason.
All right. Well, all offseason will continue. Football at 4, mini camps on the way. Schedule will be coming out. And before we know it, training camp will be here. It seems like it starts to roll fast. Andrew DiCecco and the guys at Inside the Birds, they got tons of coverage for you. Check out the podcast on all podcasting platforms. He's at Andrew DiCecco on the X platform. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
There's a great breakdown. There you go. There's all you need to know about the Eagles 2026 draft class. Andrew DiCecco, Football at 4, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast here on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN, the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, and live video streaming on the X platform and on YouTube at Mike Gill Show. And, of course, we are live today. We are over at Ventnor Social. You can stop on out and check us out for the Phillies today. Got day baseball for the Phils, 2 games for the Phils today. And, of course, you can check out all the action here on all the TVs and more at Ventnor Social. Coming up later on in the show, Sixers with a big one tonight. The Flyers took care of business last night in Philadelphia, so that building saw a clincher last night. Can that building get an extender tonight? Sixers and Celtics. Listen to the game right here on 97.3 ESPN. The coverage starts at 8 o'clock when we come back. It's today's Nuggets. Nick Earnshaw joins the party right here on the Sports Bash Live.
It's Sixers-Celtics Game 6 tonight. Listen as Tom McGinnis calls all the Sixers playoff action.
Up top to BJ, three-pointer by Edgecombe. It's up and good. BJ struggled from beyond, but not that time. He buried it, and the Sixers 109, Boston 94. They've come in here to TD Garden, and they're going to win their second straight.
The Sixers face the Boston Celtics tonight. Game 6. Coverage begins at 8 p.m. on South Jersey's home for Sixers playoff basketball. 97.3 ESPN.
Progressive's Home Quote Explorer helps you easily find and buy the right coverage for you. It's everything you've always wanted. Well, I mean, as far as a website that lets you shop, quote, and buy insurance in one place. But hey, maybe that is everything you've always wanted. Yeah, people have different types of dreams. And if all you've ever been searching for is a website that helps you choose home insurance rates and coverage, boy, do we have great news about Progressive's Home Quote Explorer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Need a new car and have no idea. It's got to be a matte black Kia.
Hop out of your old car and into a new matte black Kia for less at Matte Black Kia in Egg Harbor Township. 26 Matte Black Kia Sportage LX, just $139 per month. 26 Matte Black Kia K5 GT line, just $149 per month. All new 2027 Matte Black Kia Telluride, $339 per month. Drive now and pay later with 0 payments for 90 days. Plus, we'll pay you up to $3,000 over Kelley Blue Book fair market value for any trade in any condition. Have a job clearing $450 per week? Matte Black Kia wants to get you approved today. We sell more, so you save more.
Matt Black Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township,
or matteblackkia.com.
Need a new car and have no idea. It's got to be a matte black Kia.
24-month leases, $59.99 due at signing. Call 888-506-4132 for details. Interest occurs from date of purchase on select models. Offers don't combine. Expires month end.
Bobby Lee brings his unpredictable high-energy comedy to Ovation Hall at Ocean Casino Resort on Saturday, May 2nd. Beloved for Mad TV and his hit podcast, Bad Friends. Get your tickets today at theoceanac.com.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
You're listening to the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Never thought this radio stunt would catch on so big.
On 97.3 ESPN.
97.3 ESPN. We're live today at Ventnor Social, and what a great spot. Phil's win. So I think we're 2-0 here. Did they win that game against Colorado?
Yeah.
Yep. So we're 2-0 for our day game watch parties. We have another game tonight, though. It starts at 5:35, and you can come right here and watch that. And then the Sixers tonight, you can watch that right here at Ventnor Social. Saturday, they'll have the Kentucky Derby, all the Flyers games, and I've heard a lot of people. I know a lot of friends who have come here for the Flyers games. Place is rocking. Now, Frank, did you go back to the men's room?
I did.
You see the Fanatic wall back there?
Yes.
Now, I didn't notice that. We've been here a few times. You got the Saquon Barkley here behind us on the wall. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the great wall of cards behind us, and they've got Saquon Barkley kind of superimposed into the wall over this side. But I didn't realize back by the men's room they also have a Philly Fanatic up on the wall. So it's an awesome sports-themed bar. So if you want to come out and check out the Phillies game for the nightcap and then the Sixers game tonight, you can do that here at Ventnor Social. It's time for the Nuggets today. Nick Earnshaw is back with us today for today's edition of Nick's Nuggets.
What's going on, guys? I hope you're having a good time. I hope you guys are in a positive mood, unlike me. At 3:34 Eastern time today, my day was absolutely ruined, okay? I got sent a text by our good buddy Josh, who's doing a great job back at the studio. And this is nugget number one.
And what did he say? Let's hear it.
He sent me a report from the press conference from Makai Lemon today. And this might have ruined the season for me. Makai Lemon will be wearing number 9 next year as a Philadelphia Eagle. Now, that number has not been worn.
What's
since
so
Nick
significant
Foles.
about the number 9, Earnshaw? Tell us.
I am beyond livid right now. And listen, I like Makai Lemon. I think it was a good pick. But overall, this is just an
I like him even more now.
Awful decision. That number deserves to be in the rafters. That number should be nowhere else, should never be worn by anybody. I don't care if Makai Lemon's a Hall of Famer at the end of the day in his career, and he brings us 4 Super Bowls. I don't care. That number 9 should not be worn ever again. Nick Foles should be the last one to wear it. I am livid, Mike. I know you guys don't care. You don't want to retire the number. That number should never be worn again. I'm sorry. And we have the audio, I believe, of Makai Lemon saying he talked to Nick Foles about it. Take a listen to it.
Did you talk to him? Yeah, I talked to him on the phone. He wanted to, to pass that number over. Wanted to speak to me on the phone before, anybody else, told me. So I appreciate him, and hopefully I can meet him soon when he's around the building.
So that right there should tell you, okay? That right there should tell you. You had to call the guy who last wore the number because it's such an honor to wear that number. That number should be in the rafters. I'm sorry. That's the first Super Bowl, an impactful run by Nick Foles that will never be matched. You will hear about that story for generations of the run Nick Foles had. That number should be in the rafters. I'm sorry. I know I'm in a minority here, but that's how I feel.
Yeah, and I love the fact that Foles is smart enough to understand to give it to this kid. That's a historical number in this, and it won. And if that number is going to help win another Super Bowl, I want to see it out on the field. Nick Foles is not dumb. He knows his role. He won the Super Bowl, but he had an insignificant career other than that one run that he had. And, by the way, his 2012 run where he had 27-2, that was a great run too. But everything outside of that, he knows his number is not to the point where it should be retired. You got a kid that's going to come in here. He called him, and he's not a pretentious jerk to say, you know what? Yeah, retire my number. Do you know, kid, I won the Super Bowl? He says, you know what? Keep the legacy of that number going. Go ahead and wear it.
Because Nick's a nice guy. This is on the organization. I don't blame Nick Foles. Nick Foles seems like a nice gentleman, all right? That moment, that run, that is bigger than anything the Eagles have done in their history. That will be remembered for generations. When we're grandfathers, years and years from now, that will be one of the biggest moments in the history of this franchise. And you can't retire the quarterback's number? That is on the Philadelphia Eagles. They kept it away for years, nearly a decade. They didn't give that number out. You're telling me it doesn't deserve to be in the rafters at this point? I think it's crazy. Text in. I want to hear what people think about this. 609-403-0973. Because I am just livid. That number is sacred in this town. He did something no other quarterback did until Jalen Hurts. Won a Super Bowl. I can't sit here and let this. It's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Give him number 89. The wide receivers have no business wearing single-digit numbers, in my opinion.
Now, that I can get behind. If you want to tell me that, why is he wearing a single-digit number, I got no problem with that. But I don't care that he's wearing 9.
I have a big deal that's 9. Frank, he should get 89. I'm with you there. I mean, let's go back to that with receivers anyway. I do kind of like the single-digit numbers, but, man, the fact that he had to call him, they haven't given out for a decade. He's the only quarterback that's won a Super Bowl until Jalen Hurts. The first one, the first parade you got in Super Bowl era. It makes me crazy. It makes me crazy that number's not in the rafters.
I mean, I'll say I'm kind of happy that Lemon actually asked Foles for his blessing.
And I'm glad that not only, that's a great point, Pete G, not only did he ask him, he thought enough to get the guy's blessing. And that he felt humbled about meeting the guy and that he gets to be the guy that wears his number. So I like the whole situation.
However, he wanted number 6 at first. I'm sure Devontae didn't want to give him number 6.
He's not going to give up his number to a rookie.
Okay, but number 9's more prevalent than Devontae's number 6.
I don't know about that.
What do you mean?
In that case, you're right. I'm just kidding. No, listen, Foles has he is such a polarizing discussion because he had this one run. But I feel like people, see, you to me are the problem. You are the stupid Cowboy fan who holds onto the past like a freaking loser. Get over it. They won a Super Bowl, and now it's in the past. You move on. I don't want to be the guy that says, 2017, they won a Super Bowl. It's over with. Stop being a Cowboys fan and sniffing your own farts and move on.
Or like a Flyers fan.
That's not it.
That's what it is. When the team wins a Super Bowl, you move on from it and move to the future. You don't act like it's a used car in 1975 and keep talking about it like a loser Cowboy fan. Don't be a loser, Nick.
Not a loser. It's not a loser. People had family members, they brought like urns to the parade. Okay, that's how much.
And then that's how we have so many loser. That's why we have so many loser Cowboy fans to begin with. No, that's how we got loser Cowboy fans. Because why are you a fan of the Cowboys? Well, because my uncle watched them on TV when I was a little kid, and I liked the star on their helmet. So now these people are like, oh, well, I remember the Eagles winning a Super Bowl. Move on from it. It's over with. They've won another one since, and guess what? Don't care. Move on to the next one. Stop holding on to the past like a Cowboy stupid
Not
ass.
hold on to the past. I'm just saying that number should be in the rafters. Nobody should wear it again because of the impact of the win and the run. That's it. It doesn't matter about longevity. It's the impact of the run that Super Bowl meant. That's all. Put the number in the rafters.
He had a 3-game run. That doesn't get your jersey retired.
Yeah, I mean,
it should.
He's a journeyman quarterback at the end of the day. I mean,
we
understand the
does Jeremy Lin get his jersey retired because he was?
Did he win a championship? Did he win a championship with the Knicks? No, he didn't win a championship.
You can make a strong case that he was the most known professional athlete for a 3-week span of all time.
It was a great 3-week span in the regular season, not in the postseason when it mattered most to bring the first championship or the first Super Bowl in franchise history. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
First off, I gave the pick of Lemon an A+. Love the pick.
Now
I think I like the kid even more.
I will not be buying a Lemon jersey. I'm sorry. I just won't. I can't do it. I can't bring myself to do it. I can't do it. I hope he has a Hall of Fame career. You win 3 Super Bowls, great. It's going to be tough watching number 9 out there again.
The statue is plenty. The Philly special statue is plenty for Nick Foles.
The statue is more than enough. You immortalize the moment. You don't need to give away you don't need to do the number.
Outdueled Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. I will say that. Yeah, won't beat Tom Brady, went toe-to-toe with him. I'm just saying. All right. Moving along. Nugget number 2. I got that out of the way. That had to be nugget number 1 because I was livid from Josh sending that to me at 3:34 Eastern time when they ruined the Eagles season for me. Okay. Moving along. Nugget number 2. We got the 76ers tonight. Could they be a disappointment? Probably. Who knows? They're on a run right now. Listen, so Game 6 is tonight, and the Sixers have not fared particularly well in Game 6. They last played a Game 6 and have not won a Game 6 since 2019 at home. That was when they beat the Raptors to go to Toronto and lose that Game 7 on the Kawhi shot. They also lost in 2023 against the Celtics and then followed that up, or they they lost to the Celtics. They were up 3-2 in 2023 and then lost on Mother's Day in Game 7 in Boston. So, with that being said, the Sixers were 23-18 at Xfinity Mobile Arena this year. And according to the Inquirer, that is the fewest home wins of any playoff team in either conference. They haven't won a home game yet. Mike, how are we feeling headed into this game? They're changing the jerseys. The court's changed. It's not the old school logo anymore. I don't know, man. I don't know about tonight.
I like the old jerseys. Those are ones that I do actually like. But I got to say, I was not a fan of the floor. It was tougher to watch the games with that floor. For whatever reason, it was kind of like a dingier look. I think one thing about the Sixers, their court, it stands out on TV. I feel like whenever they go out west and play teams like out there, everything looks darker and dingier. And I like the floor, the regular floor better. I didn't like that floor. So if it's going to get that floor off, give me the regular jerseys back. Listen, the home team wears white. You wear a white jersey at home. So they're going back to the white jersey. That I like. Now, tonight, I don't care what happens tonight. I don't see them winning in Boston 3 times. So they can win tonight, and it'll be a feel-good story. And look, we'll get a Game 7 potentially to watch on Saturday. But to ask the team to go to Boston and win 3 times on the road, I can't get it in my mind. I can't wrap my head around it. So as much as I want them to surprise everybody, I don't see it happen. And there's 2 reasons why. One, these 2 teams have played 9 times this year, I think. 9? Yes, 9.
Yeah.
The team that has made more 3-pointers has won every single time. Yeah. And to me, there's no way that the Sixers make more threes than the Celtics 3 straight games. So I feel pretty poor about this thing going, about the Sixers winning this series.
This is a game the Sixers don't particularly win. And I'll tell you, if they find a way to win this series, someone better get their number retired after they're done playing. I'll tell you that. If they find a way to win this series, someone better get their number retired.
Yeah, Quentin Grimes. He's on the level of Nick Foles.
The way he played defense the other night, it deserved a jersey retirement. That was unbelievable on Jaylen Brown. You just need that effort. And Joel Embiid's the X factor. They're kind of playing with house money in a sense. But I'll tell you, who needs to step up in this game tonight if they do want to win and force a Game 7? It needs to be Tyrese Maxey. I need Tyrese Maxey to just take over and just start making everything. That needs to happen. I need a James Harden Game 1 2023 level performance from Tyrese Maxey at some point. We kind of got it in Game 2 when him and VJ kind of went off, but I need a Tyrese Maxey game tonight. That's who needs to step up tonight, in my estimation.
I would agree. I brought it up at the beginning of this when we didn't think that Joel Embiid was going to play. And I said, well, why shouldn't we be more critical of Maxey if he can't find a way to win 2 games? Now, guess what? He found a way to win 1 game, and Embiid won the second game for them. They needed Embiid to come back to get the second one. But for them to extend this series, 2 things have to happen. 1, Embiid, as I chronicled yesterday, he has to find the inner will to say, I might not want to play down low all night long, but I have to understand that they can't stop me, and I'll do it to win this series. And then when they get to the next round, you can go back to being Joel and kind of elbow jumpers and perimeter stuff. But when push comes to shove, he has to say, I want to win this series, and to do it, Nick Vucevic can't defend me. Neither can Keita or anybody potato they throw at him. Just keep going down to the big man. And then Maxey has to hit the key shot, the inside-outside game, because when Embiid dominates down low and they start to double him, that's when you get wide-open looks, and that's what happened the other night. They got wide-open looks, and your boy Grimes started to make some shots. So there's your formula tonight. Michael Kasky-Blomain tweeted out tonight what he thought the key for the Sixers was, and I can't disagree with him. 1, run the offense through Embiid in the post, stay home on the shooters, and don't overhelp. Boston had so many open threes. I was looking at some analytics about open threes in the first 4 games as opposed to that game. The difference was unbelievable.
No, you can't allow Boston to get all these second, third chance opportunities to get a 3-point shot off. I mean, that's how they've lost some of these games and gotten blown out because of the abysmal rebounding. And Tyrese Maxey's talked about it in his post-game pressers of how bad the rebounding is. It's nothing new. We've been talking about this all season long. They have struggled mightily. But if you can get Embiid down in the post and allow him to be double-teamed, he's gotten so much better throughout his career as he's gotten older of getting that ball out to the open three-point man. And listen, if Grimes can start knocking down three-point shots, you're in a good spot. And if he's playing defense, that is sensational. But Tyrese Maxey, if he wants to go to that level of superstar, that tier 1 type of superstar, he's got to carry you to a win as well. Like, you're asking Embiid coming off an appendectomy to win you 3 straight against the Boston Celtics. I mean, that's a lot to ask. When can someone else step up and carry and take over a total game? I mean, I know Maxey and Edgecombe did it in game 2, but man, you have the big fella there. Can someone else help the guy out a little bit?
And that's the killer, right? If Embiid was healthy, this series would be over in 5 or 6, maybe. Right?
I mean, think they would have won this series in 5?
6 games. I would do Sixers
no
in
way.
6. You don't think so if Embiid was healthy? Sixers in 6.
Sixers would have won in 6?
No way.
If Embiid was fully healthy.
I don't think so.
No?
And, well, if he played like he did the other night, maybe. Here's the problem, as we chronicled. The team that's made more threes has won all 9 of these games. The Sixers just don't shoot it consistently well enough. That's their problem.
Yeah.
And Boston, they'll shoot 50. So they might not have to shoot it well, but they might make 20 or 50,
Or 22, like the other night.
Exactly. So the Sixers don't shoot as many as Boston does generally, and they don't shoot as well as Boston does generally. I do agree. We're so enamored with the Boston, and it's more about the name on the chest because it's Tatum and Brown, and I'm a big White fan as well. But realistically, their role guys are not like Peyton Pritchard. He had an outer body experience the other night, but that's a rarity that he shoots that well.
He followed it up with what, like 2 threes hit maybe in game 5?
Yeah, and then you got guys like Hauser and Shireman.
But isn't it,
tell
Mike?
Me that the Sixers aren't more talented than Hauser and Shireman and
isn't it always though the case? Isn't this always the case though with the 76ers in the playoffs? Like, it's always the Kevin Huerters, the Josh Harts, the Peyton Pritchards that always have an out of body experience against them. I've never seen anything like it in playoff series.
Yeah, they have never been able to find. We always talk about like that third guy who steps up and has the big game.
In Oubre.
And by the way, can it be Oubre? Can it be Paul George? Those guys haven't had a big game yet in this series.
Be nice.
Oubre had a huge play-in game against the Magic. Just think about that, by the way. The Magic are up 3-2 in that series.
They should have played the Pistons, but it is what it is. All right, retire 9. Lemon, give it back. I'm ending Nuggets on that. See you, Frank. See you, Pete. See you, Mike.
All right, there you go. Today's Nuggets on the Sports Bash.
Wouldn't you rather see the number 9 out on the field every Sunday rather than just it not being worn again?
Yeah, put it back to life.
Yeah, bring it back to life.
Coming up next hour, Paul Hudrick. Do the Sixers have a chance? He's there at Xfinity Mobile Arena. I wouldn't be surprised if he was like, I got bad news, guys. Joel's not playing. Stick around. More Sports Bash live, 97.3 ESPN.
home of the Philadelphia Eagles.
They've got him. It's a sack.
Sixers.
Oh, baby.
And Flyers.
He scored!
97.3 ESPN. WENJ. WENJ HD. Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey.
Final hour of the show. We're live at Ventnor Social. Don't forget, Phil's coming up at 5:35 for game number 2. And then it will be the Sixers and the Celtics. You can watch all the action right here. We're live at Ventnor Social. And I anticipate there'll be a big crowd for the Phillies and the Sixers tonight. The Sixers trying to do what the Flyers did last night, win on their home floor. It's something that has been a problem for them this year. And live from the home floor at the Xfinity Mobile Arena, Paul Hudrick is in the house, and he joins us with a look at the Sixers and the Celtics as the Sixers try to extend their season. They were able to go to Boston the other night and extend it for another night. Paul, what were they able to do in that game that they can take some notes from and maybe extend this game, this season, another night?
Well, obviously the game plan going in was take a lot of threes, which is the right game plan when you're talking about playing a team like the Boston Celtics, because they're going to do that. So you're going to lose the math equation pretty quickly if you don't also take a bunch. But I think the big adjustment was when the third quarter came around, you know, Joel Embiid, whether it was a comfort thing, whatever it was, he decided he was going to play in the post. And when he did that, you know, I think at first, you know, Joe Mazzulla, his thought was, okay, he's going to go play in the post. Let's see how he does, because who knew? Who knew if he was going to be able to handle that workload, you know, with, you know, just coming back from the appendectomy, his stomach, who knew what kind of shape he was going to be, if he was going to be able to kind of keep that going. And then they tested him, and then just repeatedly, he just kind of scored at will for, you know, for a couple straight minutes there. And I even thought Mazzulla maybe waited a little too long to start double teaming him, because he left his bigs on an island for a while. But what I think that did was, Mike, I think Mazzulla was so hesitant to send help, because when you do that, it opens up the rest of the offense. And then those threes are there because there's so much attention being paid to Joel Embiid inside. You're seeing him then spray it out to shooters, and they're making them pay. So if you're the Sixers, I think you got to do more of the same. If you're Joe Mazzulla, I'm very curious to see kind of what the kind of chess match is. What is your kind of, you know, what do you do next in response to that? So it's a good place for the Sixers to be, because they've been on their heels for a lot of this series. And now it sort of feels like, okay, now the big adjustments got to come from the Celtics. How are they going to be able to adjust to Joel Embiid? And then the last thing, Mike, is defensively. Man, they were sensational in that fourth quarter. Only gave up 11 points. You know, Joel Embiid talked about, you know, they've been over-helping too much and blah, blah, you know. But that's, to me, I just thought they were keeping their man in front of them. I thought that was the big thing in the fourth quarter. And then Joel Embiid was really good in the paint. And they were getting rebounds. So I think that was a perfect formula to me. That second half, at least, is a perfect formula for them winning potentially in Game 6.
There's a lot there. Paul Hudrick from Liberty Ballers. I talked the other day, like you watched Joel, the way he played. If he sits down and watches that and says, man, they can't stop me down in the paint, and then not only can they not stop him in the paint, when they try to double, that opens up things for others. Like, can he come to terms and compute that I might not want to do this, but can I sacrifice for 2 nights? And if he sacrifices to do that, do they have a shot?
Yeah, absolutely. They have a shot. I mean, like I said, that's what worked in the second half. I mean, that's exactly what they did. And I think it's more with Joel, it's more about like most teams. Like when is the last time you've seen him get single coverage in the post for that stretch of the game? That never happens, right? Like he never gets that much time and space. And you see why, because when he gets it, he just dominates. So if they're giving him that again, then yeah, he's going to attack. But at the same time, kind of like you already said, like if he's going to get the ball in the post and they're going to send doubles, he's going to have to make the right decisions, which he did the other night. I mean, he had 8 assists the other night. So I mean, I think he's willing. I think he kind of knows the answers to the test. And if you're the Celtics, like Al Horford isn't walking through that door. You know, Brad Stevens is up in the you know, executive suites now. He's not down on the court. So this is an opportunity for Joel Embiid, because I think he knows the answers to the test now. He knows that they're going to send doubles. He has an idea of where they're coming from, and he knows where his outlets are. And let's be real too, Mike. This is probably the best set of outlets he's ever had when you're talking about Maxey, Paul George, VJ Edgecombe, and then Oubre and Grimes are probably the main guys. So he's got the answers, and he's got players that he knows can beat the other team. So I think he's more than willing to accept that and be unselfish and play that way.
The other thing you mentioned was the defense. Obviously, the big difference is this is an amazing stat, by the way. All 9 games that the winner has made more threes. Why? What changed about their defense for the person listening and saying, okay, what changed about their defense, Paul? Why were they able to win the battle of the three-point shot?
I think, some of it's luck for sure. That's just the reality of the game of basketball. Like the three-point shot, it's a variant. You get variance, and the Celtics are a very good three-point shooting team, and the Sixers during the season were not. But I thought a couple different things. I would say one, like I already mentioned, like they didn't overhelp. They stayed on their man. They stayed on shooters. They didn't leave shooters open. And then when it was a guy like Jordan Walsh or something like that, you didn't see like over-aggressive closeouts. And then I think, Quentin Grimes, I thought that was easily his best game. That might have been the best game he's played, arguably all season, right? He was outstanding against Jaylen Brown. He really got into his body, and you saw that it affected Jaylen Brown a good bit. I thought Paul George was really good on Tatum. And then Embiid was really good in the paint. So when those guys, were able to get into the lane, Joel Embiid was there to help. So I just think that them just being connected, playing smart, staying at home again on shooters, not over helping when those times came. It led to less scrambling, and then I think it led the Celtics to kind of playing more one-on-one basketball. Which look, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum absolutely can kill you playing one-on-one basketball, but in a pick your poison kind of situation, you prefer having them take long twos, having them work instead of just giving guys wide open threes.
Well, they're going to have to outshoot. This is where I have a real hard time is, number one, they're going to have to win the three-point shooting for 3 nights in a row. That's a hard one to come to terms with. They're also, to win this series, going to have to win 3 games in Boston. So it is a hard thought process. However, we haven't seen a big Paul George game. We haven't seen a big Oubre game. And Edgecombe has been a little quiet here. Is it plausible to think that there's big games coming from those guys? Or to win it, is this going to have to be an Embiid-Maxey show?
No, look, I would even argue Tyrese Maxey hasn't had like a big game, right? He was really efficient last game, but I wouldn't call that like a big game for his standards. He had like 25 points. So that's still possibly in there as well on the table. So, yeah, I think, it's going to take it. After what you saw last game, there's no way Joe Mazzulla is going to come out and say, all right, I'm going to single coverage Joel Embiid with Neemias Queta and Nikola Vucevic all night and think I'm going to get away with that. Because he's not. He's a smart coach. He's a really good coach. He's going to adjust. So it's going to take someone else, stepping up to beat them. Now, Paul George has a lot on his plate, right? He's 36 years old, and he's running around with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown for 40 minutes a night. It's a big ass to then also have him, contribute whatever, 30 points. Now, he's capable of it for sure. He's capable of having one of those big nights, and they haven't asked as much of him offensively. Quentin Grimes, surely. Quentin Grimes is capable of these nights. That's not like, yes, he had 18 points and it was a big game, but he's done stuff like this in the past. It's not like he's not capable of this. And yeah, Oubre has not had a great series, but he's a guy who can. He was kind of one of their unsung heroes this year. He is capable of that. So they do have capable players that can do it. It's going to depend on, like we kind of already touched on, how is Joel Embiid going to navigate the double teams? And how is Boston going to kind of react to that? What is their kind of what is their idea to it? What is their adjustment to that? So I think that's what you're going to have to see play out. And they still have to take threes, Mike. They have to take a lot of threes. Yeah. That math does not change. They have to jack up, close to 43s if they want to hang with this team.
42 in the last game. The Sixers shot up, and of course they played 6 guys really in the game the other night. Drummond had a 7-minute run. Is that sustainable?
It's going to have to be, because I don't think there's any and look, I'm a big.
So you like that, but I'm saying and that's one of the things that Nurse kind of did in Toronto. He ran his guys ragged a lot.
Yeah.
But does he have to say, you know what, our only shot is we're going 6?
At this point, yes, because look at your other options. You can't really go back to Barlow only because we just touched on the 3-point shooting. You can't have a non-shooter out there. You just can't. You just can't afford to do that right now. Even with Drummond and Bona, I personally like Bona better defensively, and I like that matchup better, but Drummond can hit an open three, and you got to take threes. Maybe Justin Edwards could sneak in there, but when you're talking, again, Oubre and Grimes, I don't think he's really going to play over those guys. And at this point, your backs are up against the wall. You got to win, so you got to go with your best guys. And I think to this point, those guys are the best 6 guys that give them the best chance to win, so you got to ride with them.
I agree. I mean, to me, you take a shot, you go with those guys. It's interesting that Joel is able to go the way that he's going. I mean, is there any evidence or any thought? Has he said anything, or is there anything that anything's wrong with him? Knee, appendectomy, Bell's palsy, face injury. I mean, anything, or does he seem like he's going into this game as about as healthy as he could be?
Well, that's the weirdest part, Mike, is like when you look at, yes, the appendectomy is a very real thing, and that happened, and like that's, it's still pretty crazy.
Like how is he reacting? How's he bouncing back? Like, who even knows like what the next day is like?
Right, and to me, I mean, it's in a weird way the blessing in disguise, because look, his knees are healthy because he hasn't had to play much basketball, right? And like everything, like he had that wrist issue as well. He doesn't have any tape on his wrist right now, so that must be okay now too. So, as much as it's rough what he's had to go through, and not playing and really doing anything for like 2 weeks, right? While that wound healed and all that, and he couldn't really do much. That did take away his wind a little bit, and I'm sure it was clear early on the rhythm was not quite there. But from a physical health standpoint, like this has to be the healthiest he's been in a playoff run maybe ever, right? Like it's pretty crazy to think when you think about it like that.
And that is crazy, and the fact it's kind of unfortunate that you got him and Paul George seemingly healthy and everybody, and you really don't know if he would have started this series where he was at the end of the year before that appendectomy, how this series would have played out here. I mean, is this series closer than maybe people were giving him credit for?
Absolutely. I mean, I think most people thought this was going to be over, a gentleman's sweep at best, right? So, I mean, the fact that we're even talking, the fact that we're even here for Game 6.
You're there, Paul. I mean, do people seem like they care? Are they juiced? Or is it just like we don't know how to react to the fact that there's a 6th game here? It's almost like nobody even thinks if they win this that they can go win. You know what I mean? It just feels like an oddity.
Well, no. So for me, like I think it's more people are, again, most people, including fans, thought, even Sixers fans, thought this series was going to be over in 4 or 5 games. So the fact that they've already pushed it to this point, I think the fans are excited about that, because if they go out tonight and they have another and they fight hard tonight, even if they lose, if they put up a battle and they make Boston work, I think you have to be pretty optimistic going into next season, right? Because you're going to have those 4 guys at minimum are going to be back. So I think you have to feel pretty good going into next year that you have a pretty competitive basketball team next year.
Now, that comment there is very interesting because, there's so many people who are done with the whole is Joel healthy and all that stuff. If this is the end, you've heard Nick Nurse's, rumors in there. There are that one side, I think Josh, my producer, has said, them getting this far, is it fool's gold that tells the organization, hey, we're right there?
Yeah, I mean, because the only change that I could have foreseen happening if the series didn't go to 6 games was probably the head coach, right? Daryl Morey probably wasn't going anywhere, and you weren't trading Joel Embiid and Paul George. So I think like fool's gold isn't really a thing because this was the team anyway. Like they weren't really going to be able to make any kind of substantive changes this offseason anyway. So I don't necessarily look at it as fool's gold. I look at it as you were kind of going to be back with this team anyway. So now at least you have a little bit of enthusiasm with running it back, knowing, hey, we didn't, maybe we didn't beat the Boston Celtics, but we're right there. We played a really competitive, hard series with that team.
Think Knicks in trouble if they don't advance?
Hard to say. I mean, to me, it's again, in a series where you were expected to not make it past 4 or 5 games to be here in Game 6. If they go out and show fight again tonight, I don't know. I don't know. I'll say this, Mike. If they would have been in Boston and lost in Game 5 and that game would have not gone well, then I think maybe you got some questions. Now, I lean towards probably not.
Wow. So just to, as someone who was a fan of them hiring Nick, I like the move. I didn't think he had a great year this year, and I'm not a big blame the coach guy. It just seemed like he was just interested at times. I thought he coached his ass off the other night and threw the kitchen like what he did in Toronto. He changed something. He did make some things. He looked like it was a different situation. Well, I'll tell you what. Tomorrow could be a very different conversation if they get the doors blown out because they have been at home. And, Paul, you've been in pretty much every home playoff game. I can't remember the last time they won a big home playoff game.
Yeah, I'd really have to think about that one for a minute. Well, I mean, I guess the Celtics. I mean, 2023 against the Celtics, they had an overtime game where James Harden scored 40. He was awesome in that game. I think that was game 4 in Philly, and then they go to Boston and win game 5.
They go to Boston. I was going to say won game 5.
Then of course they laid the egg in game 6 here. But that was one that was pretty big, and that they had some juice. I will say this: I give the fans a ton of credit. Because this building, I was not sure what I was expecting. 2 years ago when it was the Knicks year, it was all Knicks fans. And that's all it was. They were getting drowned out. These 2 games already at home, this crowd base has been here. They've been engaged. They've been loud. They've been excited. Like, with everything that this organization has kind of put this fan base through, for them to all still come out, like I give the fans a lot of credit for standing behind this team, for standing behind guys like Embiid and Maxey. It's been pretty cool to see through the first 2 games.
And Paul, to have to crank it back up after last night, Flyers game, the emotion of winning and advancing, and then saying, I'm going to spend more money to go back. We'll see what it looks like there tonight. Paul Hudrick, Liberty Ballers. If the Sixers win, Game 7 would be Saturday night. If they lose, we'll see what the future holds. Check him out at Paul Hudrick. Thanks, man.
You got it, Mike. Take care, man.
All right, so he just brought up a lot of interesting points here, guys. One, he mentions the fact that they got to the 6th game in this series now. Have fans changed their outlook to say, you know what, that's better than I thought? You might have some intrigue of them running it back next year? I know, Josh, we had this conversation. I said, Game 7, or whatever, and Josh was almost like, don't care. Don't even want them to win.
Yeah, I mean, this season was just a weird the Paul George suspension, Embiid appendectomy, Embiid to start the season wasn't really there.
You just said it 10 times over. Embiid. If you told me we're running it back and Embiid's making it through and he's playing, I'm not even asking for 82 games or 50. If you told me Embiid's playing 55 games next year, I'd say, okay, that I can sign up for. If I knew he was playing 55 games, I could say, now, okay, I have intrigue. But I don't ever know what to expect from him. And I'm done with is he playing, is he not playing? Is he playing, is he not playing? Well, he can't play back-to-backs. I don't know how you can go back, but Paul's not wrong. They have no other alternative here. He signed that deal.
And the recent history of the Sixers will tell you that they just do not win this game, right? They never win this type of game.
They never win this game at home.
At home.
The recent history might say they win this game and really tickle you. And then,
get blown out
blasted.
In Boston,
remember, it was the team with like Iguodala and that crew. They played Boston and went 7 games, and they got beat up pretty good in the 7th game that year. But people really got behind that team. They beat the Bulls in the first round. They were the 8th seed. And then they played the Celtics in the second round and went 7 games.
Spencer Hall's right, that team.
Yeah, it was Iguodala, Thaddeus Young, Drew Holiday, and then they ended up trading for
Bynum. Mike, but wasn't the problem with that team that there were no expectations for that team? There's a level of unfulfilled expectations with this team.
There's a level of unfulfilled expectations is fair, but I also feel that the level of expectations for this team was minimal because people have lost interest. Fair?
More than fair. I think a lot of people that I run into, unless you're like a diehard Sixer fan, they just don't care about this series.
Right, and you have said, correct me if I'm wrong, that you don't want them to win almost because of fool's gold. You don't want them to think when Paul Hudrick just said that, what was your reaction?
I understand. Paul knows better than any of us do because he's around that team so much. It's just for me, I get this level of anxiety when you get the general manager like Daryl Morey, who will be like, he'll pull what's his name, Dombrowski. We got a good club. We got a good ball team. It's like, don't tell me that you're good. Tell me what you're going to do to make the team better.
They have so many challenges with as Bobby Marks, that audio we played yesterday,
Yeah.
the challenges they have with the contract. He said 88% of their money is wrapped into 4 players.
Yeah, let's run it back. This was Bobby Marks, so he was on Unsportsmanlike yesterday, here on 97.3 ESPN.
And they've got some decisions with Grimes, Drummond and Oubre, who are all free agents, and they've danced around the luxury tax the last couple of years, and they're $15 million below, not including those 3 guys. It's not an easy thing. In a perfect world, you would love to look at trade suitors for Embiid, who's owed $180 million after this year, and in George, who's owed $110 million after this year. But I think it's difficult to move off both guys unless you're not going to move draft capital.
Yeah. So what do you do when you have 88% of your money wrapped into 4 players, and if you, what do you say, $15 million under the luxury tax? That doesn't give you a lot of wiggle room to bring these guys back.
No, it's enough money to fill out the back end of the roster with more Dominic Barlows.
It's exactly what we talked about yesterday, too. Your inability to draft in the second round and develop those guys on low salaries like Boston did. You find these Hausers, and, Pritchard, I think, was a first-round pick. But, the other guys, Cada, who was drafted by Sacramento and then cut, Hauser, Shireman, those guys, you don't have those guys. And you've never had those guys, right?
Correct.
They've never had those guys. Who's a guy that they just kind of drafted and far exceeded? Now,
there's only one I could think of in the last several years, and that was T.J. McConnell back in the day.
T.J. McConnell was one. Jeremy Grant turned into a pretty good player.
That's true. Jeremy Grant was they sold him at the highest they could have, actually, too.
Yeah, and quite frankly, Jeremy Grant was better everywhere else he played than he was here. But, yeah, they just haven't been able to do it. Listen, do they win tonight? I've said I thought the series was over, and they keep winning. If they do what Paul Hudrick mapped out, which is what I mapped out, if Joel commits to winning the paint, forcing Boston to double him, making the right plays, and knocking down threes, that's a lot to ask, isn't it?
Yeah.
They could win this game. And they have to play the level of defense that they played the other night. Can they do that again and make Boston miss threes?
And for Nick Nurse, I think he's done a heck of a job this year, never knowing who would play, winning with G Leaguers, winning Game 5 on the road. I know it's much easier to get rid of a head coach than it is to get rid of a $180 million player, but I think he's done a great job this season.
Kevin O'Connor, who covers the NBA for Yahoo, just tweeted this out. One thing to watch in Game 6. Boston had 20 catch-and-3 shoots in Game 5. Their season average is 27, and in the series, their average is 32. Philadelphia prevented a lot of drive and kick chances. They stayed home on the shooters, and they let Joel close out at the rim. If Joel Embiid can rim protect, it's not something he's done well this year with that whole knee problem. He did not defend the paint and rim protect this year very well. But if that happens, do they have a shot? Let us know. 609-403-0973. More Sports Bash coming up live at Ventnor Social. Phillies first pitch coming up in about 12 minutes. And then Sixers tip-off is at 8:12 tonight. And you can listen to that game on 97.3 ESPN.
The NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio. The Pistons survive a must-win. Can they survive another must-win? Or will the Magic advance to the conference semifinals?
The way that we know how we play at home in front of our fans with that energy and that excitement in that building.
It's a pressure-packed Game 6 in Orlando. Game 6 of the Pistons and Magic.
Pistons, Magic, Game 6. Tomorrow night. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Your exclusive home for the NBA playoffs. 97.3 ESPN. You're listening to the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
When I'm driving, I got a guy on the radio who talks to me. I can't see him, but he talks to me.
On 97.3 ESPN.
All right, live here at Ventnor Social. Now you see the Phils. First pitch coming up in about 5 minutes. People starting to come in for the Phils game tonight. We also have the Sixers game at 8 o'clock. 8:12 is the tip time for the Sixers game. Sports Bash live at Ventnor Social, 6417 Ventnor Avenue. And don't forget, if you get down here in the last half hour, you can see Vince. He's got the sign up for that trip to Baltimore. You can go to Baltimore and see the Phillies play. Hey, they won again today. Let's check out the lineup for tonight's game. The second game of the doubleheader, which I thought is interesting, guys. If Don Mattingly's trying to win the fans over, I don't know that it's, whoever made the lineup today, whether it's Don Mattingly or his son, you think his son hands him the lineup and he's like, yo, kid, really? This is what you want me to run out there?
Yes, I do think that.
I don't think they're micromanaged in Philly, I think.
Well, here is the lineup for game 2. Turner, Schwarber, Harper, Garcia, Stott in the 5-hole. Now, if they're not micromanaged, people thought that Thompson was a complete buffoon for putting Stott in the 5-hole. Do we really think that there's 2 buffoons that have managed this team?
Look who's behind him in this lineup, though.
Saying, Bohm is hitting 6th, by the way. Crawford, Felix Reyes has gone from the 4-hole to the 8-hole, and Garrett Stubbs is hitting 9th.
He's the best option for the 5th hole. Look at those names.
Marsh. I mean, Bohm would be the best option. Although I know everybody's so down on Bohm. And by the way, Felix Reyes went from – now I know they're facing a lefty, right?
They are. No, they're not facing a lefty. They're facing
Hauser,
a righty.
Hauser,
yeah.
right.
Yeah, they're facing Hauser.
So Reyes, who went from the 4-hole, you dropped him from 4 to 8. So you thought he was good enough to hit in the middle of your lineup. Now you're hitting him. You don't think he's a better option at 5? That's my point is, who ultimately made the decision to put Reyes in the 4-hole? That was question 1. 2, people really were not like, why would anybody hit Stott in the 5-hole? And now Don Mattingly's doing the same thing? Like, am I supposed to believe that Don Mattingly really believes that Bryson Stott is your best 5 option when you have Bohm and Reyes, both guys who have hit in the 4-hole? And Bryson, now he hits the triple today, and then people are probably saying, he just hit the game-winning, But it is a very interesting question on who's, because Thompson was highly criticized for hitting Stott in the 5-hole. By me, now I don't think that – I'm on the belief listen, I have talked to many people who have said that the front office is heavily involved in the lineup. Rob Thompson was involved in the conversations, but I think it was more of like, hey, these are what the analytics say, and that's why they are so heavy with platoons. And their lineup is stacked based on a lot of analytical data. Stott in the 5-hole, I said, I don't know what analytical data you would have on a printout sheet that would say he's a guy that should hit in the 5-hole.
Honestly, at this point, though, between Stott and Bohm, what's the difference?
I agree with the way they're going now, but I think you can certainly make the question of that Bohm is a much more not prototypical. I mean, he should be hitting 6 or 7, so should Stott. But Reyes, you thought enough of him to hit him 4.
Yeah, I think in this particular instance, I think Brandon Marsh, he got a little banged up on Tuesday, so I think they're just trying to give him some rest tonight.
So against a right-hander,
so
he's
normally he would be the one, but yeah. I would imagine he's still. It looked like he was limping a little bit the last game. Not that he can't play through this, but I think this is just because Marsh is in need of a day off. I don't think Marsh was Put it this way, I don't think Marsh could play a full doubleheader today.
It is pretty crazy that they're facing a right-hander and Marsh is not in the lineup.
They that's true, but if you can't go 2 full games, well then play him against the tougher starter.
By the way, Tim Meza is starting the game. It's a bullpen game for the Phils tonight, and I know you are not a fan of that, but Jeff Kerr was on earlier. He thought it could have been Zach Pop. They did make a roster move a little while ago. What was the move?
Trevor Richards is who had a nice spring with the Phillies. He's someone who's got some major league experience. Kind of a journeyman. Last year, I believe his most recent major league appearance was with the Diamondbacks, I believe. But I thought he looked pretty good this spring, and the Phillies had a roster spot open on the 40-man, so they purchased his contract. And yeah, Yeah, last year he played actually with two different teams in the major leagues. He started out with Kansas City, finished with Arizona. 2024, he was with Toronto and Minnesota, and then Tampa Bay and Miami as well.
Schwarber, by the way, is in the field.
Yeah, I don't like that either. I would personally rather see Reyes in left field. However, this is probably the half day off for Harper.
Well, Harper played first base in the first game, so he is DHing in this game. Do they not like Schwarber to play first base?
He was taking ground balls this spring. I personally saw him do it, but I guess
I was at the game in Clearwater. Actually, was in Dunedin last year when he played first base, and I would think that playing first base for a night is a lot less stressful if that's what they're worried about, or does he just feel more comfortable playing left field?
Maybe a little bit of each, but to me, I'm just nervous because if you remember his last injury that put him on the IL for a little bit was a hamstring that he pulled playing the outfield because his body just wasn't used to it. So,
what do they think of Reyes? Now he's played first and third, and the outfield. Do they not see him as any option as a third baseman?
No, he's not an option there. He's basically a first baseman DH for the most part. And he's Darren Ruff or Rhys Hoskins in left field.
Okay.
So
I
think at some point, if the rest of the offense gets going, he goes down to AAA to play every day.
He has to.
His
bat, have a 24-year-old kid not hitting every day.
Yeah, his bat is not getting the reps it needs. So tonight's actually his first time to start against a right-handed pitcher. So I think that'll be good.
Let me ask you this, though. What is Reyes? I mean, is he a high prospect? I mean, is he a late bloomer? It was a little bit of a surprise that he gets the call up, and then he's hitting in the 4-hole. I mean, that was ridiculous.
Yeah, he's a late bloomer because last spring he left spring training and went to extended spring training, so he wasn't even really ready to join anybody yet. But he impressed last year in the minor leagues after they worked with him a little bit, and then I thought this spring he looked really good, but this spring I was thinking where do you put the guy? Because he's like first base DH, but some scouts have said don't count him out because he's very athletic. Don't rule him out for left field, but he's got to work on that. He's got to play a little bit more, in my opinion.
No, he's playing first base tonight with Harper DHing. Schwarber is in the outfield. Because quite frankly, when they called him up, you're thinking this guy came from out of right field. His name was not on the radar that I heard. I mean, would you anticipate that he was a possibility to get called up at some point?
I thought at some point. I didn't think it would be that soon. I mean, I think he showed enough this spring that he was on their radar. But the fact that they had to pivot to him so quickly, I mean, that's of course partially the failure of Otto Kemp to really take hold of that.
So
left
is
field
Kemp
platoon.
in your mind kind of done, or?
No, he's got to find himself. I mean, he was not prepared to play the outfield. As you often said, he didn't play enough in left field in spring training. And, if I'm the Phillies, I would have put him down at AAA and let him play third base every day. Just in case, Alec Boehm, you need to make a decision there because if Alec Boehm doesn't find himself soon, they got to do something. So,
or worst case scenario, I mean, at least make him like a Dylan Moore. Let him play first. Let him play second. Let him play third. I know he's not. The problem is Moore is a much better defensive player all the way around the diamond.
Yeah, it's very, very, very fair to say. Kemp, they put him at second base briefly last year. It wasn't great. I mean, if someone gets hurt at the end of the game, I would throw him there and just take my chances. But
well, that's my point with the Moore conversation is if somebody got hurt in the middle of a game and you have this luxury of Moore, great. You can make the move to do somebody – if somebody ended up getting hurt. In other words, to me, if you like Kemp's bat better than Moore's bat, he could be the guy that plays second, third, first, left field. Maybe none of them great, but at least he could hit. You hoped anyway. It hasn't really worked out for him.
Yeah, I think Kemp was more of a bench bat. I thought that was asking a little bit too much to be a platoon player. And so if I were the Phillies, I would work on him being sort of a bat off the bench with a little bit of pop because that's what they don't have right now.
Absolutely. And the problem is you can't really ask a young kid to be that role because they need to hit every day to kind of get themselves to major league level.
Yeah,
that's the problem that Kemp – now, he has gone down to the minors and hasn't hit much there either.
He is not. So he's probably a little bit lost right now. I mean, probably a little bit in the head from the whirlwind he's been on. I mean, high expectations, and then he gets demoted really quickly. So I think he'll find something more than he's showing this year. But
all right, let me ask you this. Frank Close is with us here. Of course, you can read this Phillies mailbag over at 973ESPN.com. Every Tuesday, Frank answers your mailbag questions. JT looks like he's going to be back Saturday. Now what? Does Stubbs go back? Do you keep him as kind of a utility guy? They were grooming him for that role in spring, but obviously
I don't know that they were grooming him. I think that was them telling him he didn't make the backup catcher job, so go play left field. I'd say there's at least a chance, but I mean he doesn't hit right-handed. I think if he hit right-handed, that'd be a little bit easier. But Stubbs is probably a DFA. He's got one of those contracts that pays him very well at AAA, so that every time they DFA him, he'll accept the assignment and earn his $575,000 at AAA, which is a lot of money for a AAA veteran. They're paying him very well to have catching depth at AAA. So it's very unlikely somebody would grab him, but he'd be happy to take that boost for a minor league salary to stay with the Phillies.
I wonder. You mentioned Cairo. He's an infielder. Now, we talked about Stott earlier. If he continues to struggle at the plate, would they do something there? Would they look to trade Stott? Do you think Stott has any value?
I think he does, because he's not a free agent yet. He's got more upside than he's showing, and I think probably the ideal time to trade him was this past off season. I mean, if there were some rumors that the Diamondbacks were willing to trade Ketel Marte, some rumors the Phillies would have been interested in Marte. He probably would have been a piece in that deal, and probably would be playing every day for the Diamondbacks if they made such a deal. But at this point, I mean, he's kind of hurt his value a lot. I mean, I don't know if you want to sell low on him at this point, but I mean, if you look over his career, you're talking 24 and 25. He was a little underwhelming too. So
he had his best year was 2022.
Yeah, he came up very well. Had a great postseason. Had a strong 2023. Really, as his first
full year.
True full year, right? I mean, he started the year as the third baseman ahead of Alec Boehm, if you remember. If you want to go way back to 22, but yeah, he's failed to be consistent now for an extended period. So I don't know if I were the Phillies, maybe a demotion to AAA just to shake him up a little bit, try to get his headspace right. And I mean, Christian Cairo, son of former Phillies player Miguel Cairo and former manager in the major leagues, Miguel Cairo. He looked really good this spring, and he's been so far so good at AAA.
How far away in your mind is Escobar?
Not yet. I'm not ready to have that conversation yet. Maybe later in the season, if he gets to maybe by July he can earn a promotion to AAA, and he's kind of teetering around. But I don't think we're at that point yet.
How about Nori?
Nori, I think, is about the same timeline. I don't think this year.
So if he
his
hits,
year.
He's hitting right now. He's like 291. He's dipped a little bit, but the problem with Nori is he hits left-handed.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously, that's the problem, isn't it?
It is. I mean, if he's playing every day, and then you have the platoon in right field where Garcia and Marsh are platooning, for example, then maybe you can carry it. Maybe then if your bench also has another center fielder
it's
option.
just so hard to make the lineup, though. I mean, if you're thinking Turner, Schwarber's left-handed, Harper's left-handed, you have no four-hole hitter, so that guy has to be right-handed. So it has to be either Garcia or Boehm. I mean, where would you even add another? Because you still have Stott's bat you need and Marsh's bat that you need, and Nori's left-handed. So even if he was hitting 350. It's like, where do I fit another left-handed bat in this lineup?
Yeah, I think Nori will rise as Phillies move on from Brandon Marsh. I think that's what needs to happen for there to be a spot for Nori.
I think that kid can hit. I don't know that he can come up right now and hit, but I think that kid is the type of bat this team has lacked.
And I want to see what
contact.
And he may actually be a better center fielder than Crawford. So
they're both left-handed, unfortunately.
I know that the Bears watching though.
All right. By the way, Crawford with the game-winning infield single today, the Phils, who send their lineup: Turner, Schwarber, Harper, Garcia, Stott, Boehm, Crawford, Reyes, Stubbs against Hauser. And the Phils get out of the first inning unscathed. We'll come back and recap and close out this show next on the Sports Bash. A leadoff homer for Trey Turner in the nightcap here. All right, Trey, shut me up for a day.
Donnie Baseball.
We're Sports Bash coming up.
It's Sixers-Celtics Game 6 tonight. Listen as Tom McGinnis calls all the Sixers playoff action.
Up top to BJ, three-pointer by Edgecombe. It's up and good. BJ struggled from beyond, but not that time. He buried it, and the Sixers 109, Boston 94. They've come in here to TD Garden, and they're going to win their second straight.
The Sixers face the Boston Celtics tonight. Game 6. Coverage begins at 8 p.m. on South Jersey's home for Sixers playoff basketball. 97.3 ESPN.
Jake from State Farm. I just beat my running PR, so I'm celebrating with the Banana Bonanza smoothie.
Hey, and you can keep celebrating when you create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. Go bananas.
I will. Hey, make it a large.
Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
It's the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
All right, getting ready to get out of here tonight. Phil's up 2-0. By the way, back-to-back jacks. It was a Trey Turner leadoff homer, followed by another Schwarber bomb. Schwarber goes yard in the first game in the first inning. He does it again in the second game, and the Phils are up now 2-0, but he's got a bullpen game.
I'll tell you what, this would be a huge sweep if the Phillies can pull it off, especially coming off what they've come off. But
we did Phillies Fastball on Tuesday, their off day. Monday, their off day.
Yeah.
And said the pitching lined up for them to sweep. Now, we talked about today, they moved Painter's going to pitch tomorrow instead. But the pitching matchups for them set up that they should have swept this series.
Well, this might be a bullpen game for the Giants, too, because Hauser has not been good this year, and 2 quick runs off of him. If they can knock him out early, maybe the Phillies are onto something here. But this would be a really big game if they could hang on and get the sweep, because 3-0 versus 2-1 is a big difference when you're trying to make up that many games
Absolutely.
in the standings.
You got to win these series. You got to win 2 out of 3 almost every time now until the All-Star break, and try to get yourself within striking distance. And then, of course, anytime you can sweep.
10 games below 500 means you got to play 10 games above 500 by math.
They need some. They need some sweeps.
So,
they
got to start winning games. Yeah.
Phillies up 2-0. Check out the games here at Ventnor Social. We want to thank Ventnor Social as always. We're going to be back here at Ventnor Social. Coming up, our next live show from Ventnor Social is Wednesday, May 20th. We will be back here. Wednesday, May 20th, Thursday, June 4th, and then Wednesday, July 29th is when we're going to give away the trip to Baltimore. So you have 3 more chances to come out and see us and sign up for the trip to Baltimore. We will be here a couple more times after July 29th. One of them will be August 26th, and then we'll be here one more time in September. We're also going to be doing some Phillies watch parties. We're going to be back at Yuri's this summer down in Wildwood. When you start to hear that, the summer times are coming. Phillies baseball, the watch party here at Ventnor Social, the doubleheader kind of split us up. We had the early game, and that was almost done by the time we started. But the late game, and then the Sixers tonight. I'm going to go the Sixers find a way to win this game. I think they find a way to win this game and probably disappoint us on Saturday. That's going to be my intuition. You with me on that one?
That's the Sixers way, right?
Just watch and enjoy. Have fun. Enjoy it.
8 o'clock, Sixers right here on 97.3 ESPN. Hey, everybody, make sure you visit Ventnor Social. It's a great spot for all the games, including tonight's Phils and Sixers. Have a great night, everyone.